Hello. How's it going, everybody? We've got the new No Man's Sky update. We're going to play a Spammeroonie right in the beginning. What is this? Why is this every fucking time now? Thank you, Casper. Also, hi. What are you doing? What are you doing? Should run this in windowed mode. Up. You want peanut? Zoop. Good try, baby. Alright, let's see this new update. I've been excited. This looks like a really good one. Ship interiors. That's something I love so fucking much. And like, we were only going to get it with Star Citizen, which they say is coming out in a couple years, but who the fuck knows. But now we get it in No Man's Sky. That's fucking cool. Let's see. Borderless window. Okay. It's been a second since I've played. I think this is the last one I did. Oh. Gonna have to get used to the controls, Mika. Mika? Ah. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. On my potato, it takes forever. So much time to load. Pulling up my friend list. In case any of you fuckers wanna play. Hey! What do you mean rip gameplay? Oh, no. It did not crash. I just tabbed away. Alt-tabbed away. Damn, nobody is here. Where are all my peoples? Where are all my peoples at? I guess Tiny's still on. Everybody's still watching Tiny. My potato. Loading the game. She's a slow mama. 'Cause she's 10 years old. Alright. Who's messaging to me? Alright, here we go. Give it a second. It's gonna be a little janky at first. Yeah. As it loads in assets. Let's go. Oh, the jank. Yum. There's my girl. Hi. Been a minute. Alright, let's see. Do I just need to... I'm probably going to need to go to the, whatchamacallit, the anomaly. I'm guessing, right? Yeah. Okay. I don't know. They're probably still watching Tiny, and they'll filter in. Tiny's still on, so... Hi. Let's go. Let's go. Sure you don't want to join me, Casper? Oof. Okay. See where all the new shit is. And there should be a new expedition, right? Did it launch yet, or is it like launching soon? So they do this thing where they'll be like, oh, here's a new update, and we have an expedition. But you gotta wait a couple weeks. Starship. Starship research. Oh. Synthesis. I already have all these. Okay, so I don't think it's here. I don't think it's here. Where do I do the new stuff? Oh, where do you have Tethys? Nothing, right? Oh, weird. Okay. Oh, no, not now. Alright. Oh. Oh, no way. Is that a ship someone made? Jesus. This is just fucking up my system here. Oh, it is. This is not mine. I can't go on here, can I? Can I? Yeah, this is someone's ship. That's cool looking. Huh. Alright, so where do I go to build one of these motherfuckers? How expensive is it? Expedition rewards? Alright, let's see. Expedition terminals. No expedition available. Damn it. They are doing that. That's so fucking annoying. Alright. Where should I go? Space? A space station. I guess. Bloop. Wow. Oh, hello. Oh, no. Not now. I'm not trying to hatch another egg right now, okay? I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to figure out how to get one of these buildable ships. Hello. Okay. Is there a place to build these ships? And can I have them without fucking up my CPU? Okay? Fighter, hauler, explorer, solar. No! Okay, so how do I do this? What am I missing?
Units received. Units received.
Where am I supposed to build this thing? Where am I supposed to be able to build these? I don't know what the fuck. Okay, maybe I go to my capital ship. Come on now. Hi. My freighters. Okay, I need to Google this. Alright. Okay. Space station using the shipbuilder. Hmm. Okay. But when I went to the shipbuilder and he fully custom charged it, okay, how do I do it? Okay. Okay. Oh, cool. There's autopilot. That's nice. But when I went to the shipbuilder, it was like, nah. Let's try this again. Huh? Try it again. Corvette class starship I need to build. Alright. This? Not what this is for? Where do these take me? Zoop. Oh. Oh, I see. This is where you park the Corvette classes. Okay. What about this guy? Alright, so I'm Starship Fabricator. Do I need to like go to a new fucking place or something? I don't understand. Space stations. All right. Okay. Oh. Okay. Where's the Corvette workshop terminal? Okay. This is one of the things that drives me nuts about this game is when they add like a shit ton of new content. They do not tell you what to do. At all. Ever. Okay. Let's see if we can find this terminal first, but then we have to like buy these modules. What's this guy? Nope. Nope. Alright. Let's see, can I just purchase modules here? No, because that's constructor. Oh. Okay. Like not pretty sure I installed it properly, right? Well, what the fuck? Yeah. Man, it gets all weirdly sized. Okay, completed. So what the fuck? Do I have to go and like find first before it even gets enabled? Is that what it is? I can't even look at it until I fucking find one or something? Why do I go up here? Normally station control, right? Yeah. Maybe I get a map from the cartographer. Cartographer. fuck me sideways. Here are the teleporters. And the second planet, but went back to the first because I felt like I didn't explore enough. Fucked up my base somehow too. Yeah, don't get like stuck feeling like you haven't explored enough, because you can get lost exploring a planet. Yeah, you can play third person. You hit X, and then you go to utilities, and then you toggle the camera view. See? Yeah. I need to figure out how the fuck I'm supposed to do this. Do I just go to a planet? Accidentally fell into many caves. You gotta dig your way out. Use like the geological module, whatever the fuck. You can dig your way out. Alright. I need to figure out. Let me see about this. Go to any space station. Oh, I actually have to take the fucking teleporter. The fucking thing. Oh, God. Why don't I look around? Why don't I just look at things? Because if I took the time to look at things, I wouldn't be sitting here going, why can't I find it? Wait, why did you turn around? My ship turned around. It's facing in the other direction from when I left it. Oh, we're bugging. Because I look like... Oh, God. Hello, Daniel. Alright, now I know what I'm supposed to do. Okay. We go through here. Okay. And then we look. Oh my God, it was right here! It was right here! Purchase. Purchase. Oh, these are expensive. Okay, okay. 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 Trade the goods. Based. Based?
Base?
What's the message? Yes. Gaza Hut. We need a good Gaza thing for Gaza the Hut. Like a good Jabba thing for Gaza the Hut to say. Oh, Tiny's about to finish. Y'all gotta do that magic. Okay, so then... Trade advance a molecule. Oh, ooh. How do I do this? What? Oh, I have to find the molecules. And then a trade. Okay, I understand. Oh. So at the first, I build from the parts. Go spam my shit. He was still talking about the chorus media thing. Shocker, Taylor's still lying. I know. Oh, he's done. Do the thing. Oh, Cryptic said Dan can't get it up. That gets me sad. It makes me sad. Alright, do we want to spend all this money? Or can I find them all and save the money is the question. Because I guess I can afford it, right? But I don't want to afford it if I don't have to. Nader not seeking re-election? Wait, he hasn't still been running all these years, has he? Man, that is sad. Hey, at least we have seatbelts. Thank you, Ralph Nader. Thank you for seatbelts. Cello. Negative 21.3. That's not worth it. Nice. I have a mission for it. Ralph Nader did seatbelts. Salvage containers. Which ones are salvage containers? Where do we find these? How to locate salvage containers in a mess. Scan planet from space. That's it? Salvageable scrap as a resource. Okay. Okay. Oh, Nadler. What up, Cryptic? Jerry Nadler's not running. I mean, that's a safe seat though, right? What up, Van Kirk? Welcome back. Let's see which. Nice. I'm gonna go to the daylight side. Actually, I've played this game a lot, but it has a big update, so I want to play this new update. Well, let's land somewhere that is not water, maybe. Oh shit. Fucked up a little bit. As long as no dipshit leftist screws it up against the nomination. You mean the nomination, like, for president? I don't think that's happening, buddy. I don't think you need to worry about that. Okay. For Nadler's seat. Okay. What district or what area? He's a senator or a congressman? He's a congressman, right? I don't remember. He's a congressman, right? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he's in the House. Do you know what district it is? Because if it's a safe district, it doesn't really matter. It'll just be annoying if it's a progressive. Potato PC. What up, Cinderelli? 12th District of New York. Oh. Then I think he's gonna. Then I don't think it really matters. It'll just suck if it's a progressive. Okay. Oh. Mm. Oh, this is going to be annoying. You mean senator or representative? Thanks. You're right. Big mistake on my part. I'm so glad that you're here. Alright. Hey, this. Oh, I have to, like, destroy the protective casing. What? How? Oh. Sick. Oh, Jerry Nadler camp. Is this the game that came out 10 years ago? Yes, and it's been getting free updates ever since, and it's fucking awesome. It's become way better of a game than they ever even, like, intended it to be in the beginning.
Weather warning.
Oh, no!
Incoming storm.
So can we scan? Do I have a scanning module built into this yet? No. Okay. So maybe I should summon somebody else. Fun Nadler clip. Okay, let's take a look. Oops.
But dude, the dude just stinks. Who has the worst breath in Congress?
That's so. Oh my god. Okay, so I can say this
Sure.
with no mental reservation.
Sure.
The worst body odor in Congress is definitely Jerry Nadler. And Jerry Nadler would waddle down that aisle and crop dust it. like it was every step of his waddle was a fart. But dude, the dude just stinks. But dude, the dude just stinks.
Who has the worst breath in Congress?
Oh no. Unfortunate. Alright, I need to summon something else because this ain't doing the trick right now. I think I have everything installed in this guy, right? Yaza. What? Show me. Scannable things. Exocraft radar. Wait. Do I not have... George Santos is in prison.
Thermal
True.
protection.
Hey, Cosmic.
Warning.
George's podcast was so funny. He's in jail. Did you hear your bud food shops come under fire? No. What happened? It's not the Quacta calling the stifling slimy. That one went over my head, good buddy. Alright, what's going on here? I thought I had... Do I not have shields installed in this one? Maybe it's the other one. No? Minecraft approach, no DLC, just keep improving and hope for more sales. Yeah, it's actually become like a success story for like how to turn your shit around when you fuck it up. I thought I upgraded all these motherfuckers. What is this? Where's my sheep? Connor was blasting food shops to Destiny over the weekend about some lolicon shit. Oh, I think I saw that. Yeah, that was a little weird, actually. Star Wars quote from Boba Fett. It's the equivalent of the pit pot calling the... I think you meant pot, Daniel. Surprised they pulled it off. They really did. They are like... They became the model. Like, them and Cyberpunk became like the models of, like, how to turn around a shit launch. Jesus Christ. Can't see anything in this fucking rain. What is that? Oh no. Electrical disturbance? Where? Oh. There.
Thermal protection falling.
Oh. I think Cyberpunk was that bad at launch, just a bit of a promise. Yeah, I really enjoyed the story and the gameplay and everything. It's still really good now. But, you know, you never know how people are going to react with shit like this. Connor's the one who keeps reading it up. At this point, Connor thinks more about lolling stuff in food shops. Might be true. Might be true. Spam! That's 2 spammers. God damn, dude. The spammers are all over the place nowadays. Alright. I'm gonna need to upgrade my fucking vehicles, too.
Thermal
Heyo.
protection falling.
I fucking heard you, alright? I feel like Connor's whole thing is basically just virtue signaling all the time. Yeah, he kind of does. As glitchy as Cyberpunk was, it was orders of magnitude better than Star Wars Outlaws.
Weather update.
When I saw the budget it had and what they delivered, oof. Outlaws worked pretty well for me. I didn't really run into many bugs, just like 1 or 2. Clanker detected. Indeed. The storm has passed. Where was that salvage crate? Oh, there's quite a few. Okay, let's go this way. Yeah. Then Outlaws, I agree. Then No Man's Sky. Well, I don't know. They're so different. Oh, Outlaws, yeah. True, Mohammed. True. How you doing? It's not the bugs, but they promised open world gaming experience, and it wasn't. Outlaws? It was open world in the same way, like, you know, games with multiple open worlds are open world. This guy at least has like fucking thermal protection, but I need to update my other dudes. Just for Trump's timepiece, heaven for sure. True. Do I have a Minotaur board? Will that do it? Yes. Alright. Now I can mine from the comfort. Sick. Sublight thruster. Will it show me this? Or am I going to have to fucking get out of it every time? I am, aren't I? Oh, what a pain in the ass. Connor's actual problem is that he's allowing himself to get pressed by Destiny's anti-fans. Like, even when Connor brings up food shops, that's only happening because anti-fans keep demanding he disavow Destiny and anyone connected to Destiny. But doesn't he still talk to Destiny? I don't think there's as much... That's as much issue with Connor, honestly. JD Vance, just what the fuck? You gonna arrest people for memes? Oh, boy. If he tries, that's gonna be such a bad look for him. He's like, no, I'm the only one who can talk to Destiny. Okay? All of you boys are simps. Yeah, he's too dull to understand what is being asked. Sure. Come here, you protective Kaisen. Yeah. Talk about the tech bro behind him. 1-2. Never anyone saying anything. Classic about the collapse of Credence. Like CCR. Okay, but this is going to be filled with Credence music, right? Ain't nothing but a heartache. You can't say tell me why and expect me not to do that. Yeah, but I feel like, I don't know, I feel like bigger YouTubers get way more deference than like little ones do. I don't know. Like, I'll watch YouTube videos that are uploaded by other people, and then all get dinged. No! Because I got a content ding when I fucking watch... not a ding, I got a fucking strike when I watched that Jubilee COVID video with Dr. Mike. I got a fucking strike. It was horseshit. With a cover of CCR, I was gonna have my mind blown. What does that mean? Is there a registry thing that I'm unaware of?
Okay,
Right,
here's a
fuck it.
joke. What's the last thing a drummer says in a band? Hey guys, why don't we try one of my songs?
Unless it's
If
Ringo.
there's any rock band in history you can fairly claim to be called timeless, it's Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Stop.
Their songs really do sound like they've always existed. In fact, that's what made them so popular. Even during the upheaval and chaos of the 60s, Creedence was the band for everybody, even if you were a hippie or a redneck. And because of their timelessness and down-to-earth image, it's hard to think of them as any kind of pop idols, but they were extremely popular. When the Beatles broke
Yeah,
up
but
in
it wasn't
1970,
about being,
that
like,
left Creed
registered
as
copyright.
probably the biggest band in the world. And their music
Okay,
was
in
so
my
good.
case,
There are
they gave me like a medical misinformation ding, but not like strike. But they didn't give it to Jubilee. Like they fucked me, but Jubilee was fine. You remember I was fucking losing my shit over that. Yeah, it was bullshit. They definitely treat bigger channels like way better than small channels. And I was arguing against the anti-vax stuff. I wasn't even the one who was saying it. I know, but Jubilee's not getting a fucking strike for that. The video is still up, right? Like, what kind of bullshit is that? So I'm just extra careful because I feel like they're way more likely to, like, get mad at me or fuck my shit up. But I wasn't spreading misinformation. Yeah, but I appealed it and nothing. Nobody checked it, I'm sure. It was just a robot that went, no, there's misinformation in the video. It can't tell the fucking difference between me and the fucking bot or the fucking video. Some horse shot.
only a handful of bands with as many classic tracks as CCR. And the amazing thing is that they did it in just 2.5 years. Just 2.5. Even a lot of the greats were around for like 15 before they accomplished that much. But the 6 albums Creedence made between 1968 and 1970
Wait, you just
were
typed
all
that?
smash successes.
If you just
and
type
produced
that,
some of
it
the
does it,
greatest
Daniel?
songs in rock history. But we're not here today to talk about those 6 albums. We're going to talk about the 7th. In 1970,
No, that is
Creedence
not
may
what
have
I
been
was
the
trying to
biggest
do,
band in the world
you
now that the Beatles
son
were
of a bitch.
gone. But Creedence were secretly in
Now
the
just a
same
place for
position as the
right-wingers?
Beatles,
Is it really?
completely dysfunctional and on the verge of total collapse. But they kept soldiering on. They kept on chugling. And how they keep going? Well, imagine it like this. What if the Beatles had not broken up, but instead had chosen to record one more album? And they decided that the only way they could keep the band together and make it happen is if they made Ringo do all the work. And Ringo doesn't get a choice.
Some companies that
That's
use AI,
pretty
if you
close
type
to
that,
what
it'll work.
CCR
I don't know
did.
if YouTube is
The
the
majority
same.
of
I
the
found out
album was
about it
given
from my
to its
sister.
least
I'll have to
talented
try it.
members, and the
But I'm
result
not
was
really taking risks now,
1972's
so-
Mardi Gras, a
Dude,
completely
look at these
predictable
guys.
disaster. Rolling Stone called it the worst album they'd ever heard from a major band. CCR itself would only last a few more months before breaking up.
So
But
sad.
was it really that bad?
Go
Let's find
away,
out. This is Train
Sentinels!
Records. Okay, I want to be clear. The drummer did not write all the songs on CCR's last album. The plan was to have all the band
Also,
members
those
do an
video
equal share of
topics
the
or
work,
the
so
middle
it's
ground
not
points are
as
so
bad as the
misleading
Ringo
in a
analogy
way.
I said earlier.
Means different or
But in a
dumb
way,
points.
it's also
Alright,
much
we'll-
worse
we'll
than the
take a-
Ringo idea.
A
Because people
while
liked
ago,
Ringo.
Daniel.
Ringo had a personality. People knew
Several
who he was.
years ago, at
People
least.
didn't have a clue who the other guys in the band were. They barely knew the main guy in the band. Like, what's his name? I got a young viewership, so a giant chunk of you don't even know. And before those of you who do know jump down the youngins' throats, let me ask you, who are the other guys in the band? Who's this guy? What instrument does he play? 95% of you failed that question, probably more. Like, I'm a classic rock guy myself, and I knew so little about them, I had to go, like,
Yeah.
buy books and
I'm a
read
huge
them and
classic
shit.
rock guy, and I have
Ugh.
to
But here's
admit
what you
I only
need to
know about Fogerty.
Before 1971, Creedence had one singer and one songwriter. That's John Fogerty. He wrote and sang all the songs. He also played lead guitar, did most of his own backup singing. He produced. He was their business manager. He controlled literally everything. The other three are John's brother Tom on rhythm guitar, Stu Cook on bass, and Doug Clifford on drums. And unless you were a super fan, you wouldn't know any of those three guys. Like, one of the odd things about Creedence was that they were the biggest rock band in America, but they weren't rock stars. They wore flannel shirts and kept out of the news. Reporters would show up to interview them and not even know which one was John Fogerty. And if the lead singer's not getting attention, you can imagine how little the fucking bass player gets.
One of them said to me, should I get his or not? Is he just here to see them, or is he one of them?
So, I guess the rest of the band started getting butthurt about it, and that's where the trouble starts. I can't tell you exactly what happened next. The details are hazy because the band members all hated each other and still do to this day, so there's a real Rashomon thing going on. I've done a few reviews of bands in meltdown mode, but those at least seemed like an honest clash of personalities. In this case, one of the two sides is absolutely lying. Or maybe they're both lying, but they're not both telling the truth. But here's my closest understanding of what went down. At some point in 1970, the other three guys called together a big group meeting where Tom and Doug and Stu met with Fogerty and demanded more power and more creative control, more contributions.
You know, I want to sing. I want to write songs. I want to play more or something. My thing should be louder on the record.
John Fogerty calls it the Night of the Generals. He means that all the soldiers in their little unit wanted to be in charge. It's also a reference to a movie about Nazi generals at the end of the war when everything's falling apart, so yeah, that should tell you what John thought of the rest of the band.
They had to hear John give up the reins. We will now be a democracy. 4 guys, 4 votes.
A short time later, Tom quit the band anyway, so now there were just 3. Sometime after that, John Fogerty came up with the idea to split the work equally. Write your own songs, sing them, even produce them yourselves. Here's what Doug and Stu say John told them at the time. Guys, I'm burnt as hell. I'm tired. You're gonna have to step in and help me out. Here's how they describe it now. Fine! You want more input? Why don't you write the songs? And here's how Fogerty describes them. Wah, wah, I want to write songs. Wah. I don't know what the real story is. Fogerty says he was trying to make everyone happy. Doug and Stu say it was an ultimatum.
He told each of us to write it, to sing a third of the album, or he was going to quit.
Whatever they originally demanded, I get the feeling Doug and Stu did not think they'd be expected to carry such a heavy load so quickly. But also that they convinced themselves that it was doable. I mean, they're on all those songs too. They're part of the band.
20
They're just as good. It's gonna work out.
Because the talking points
They went
are
into the studio in
reasonable, like, do you want all
1971
money
to pump
divided,
out yet
which is
another hit,
can't.
as they did. CCR
That's
was
not
a damn hit
communism, it's
factory.
dumb,
No
just
reason to
what the
stop
fuck.
now.
All
And
the
Fogerty
points and
wrote them their
participants
next
aren't that
single.
intelligent
That
'cause you
single
can't get
is
beaten by
Sweet
right-wingers.
Hitchhiker.
And they have it at their own. Wait, what is so what is like the name of
Oh, yeah, this one's a
the
barn
video? What's the
It's
topic?
a song about finding some hot
title.
mama hitchhiking on the side of the road, and yeah, it's got some power behind it. CCR were a laid-back band, but when they wanted, they could absolutely tear it up. And that's what they're doing here. Yeah, they're killing it.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah, that'd be some brain
this song's
rot.
I actually had a really strong negative reaction to this. I did not like this at all. I don't want to hear CCR sing about chicks, man. Creedence was a soulful band about serious things, about hard living and tough times, growing up at the bottom,
Yeah, but
life on the
musically,
road.
that's a pretty good song.
They didn't write meathead songs about girls. And I know what you're thinking. What about Long Cool Woman in a Black Dress? That song's pretty good, right? Yeah, well, that's not actually them. That's the Hollies. In the early 70s, Creedence wasn't even the best version of Creedence anymore. But I digress. But yeah, this is bad. What it mostly reminds me of is that
Yeah, I
there
get
were a
the
lot of
feeling
guys
that's
that
gonna
became
be
hippies who weren't actually rebelling
pretty
against
bad.
anything. They just wanted grass and ass. So here we got this dude bro fantasy about picking up some random hot chick and she sucks your dick.
The unwritten book of the road.
Yeah, like that. Ish. It just doesn't sound Creedence. It sounds like all the shitty boogie blues butt rock that came after them. Where the hell did this come from? Well, I'll tell you this. It made more sense when I found out that Fogerty was going through a divorce at the time. You know, you've been a married man a
The
long
guy sounded
time.
more intelligent
Now
than
he's
others,
famous,
despite
and
his
he's a
dumb
free
answers or
man.
typers. I mean, yeah, maybe
Probably
we'll take a
feeling
look at it.
himself, single, ready to mingle, ready to score some action. Yeah, he was only 26 at the time, but if you imagine him in a bar in a middle-aged sport coat and a balding ponytail, the song makes a lot more sense. For the record, Fogerty does not get his dick sucked in the song. He's so busy drooling, he crashes into a ditch, and the hot chick blows by him laughing. So, you know, see, it's funny. It's okay, I guess. I don't know. I can't make out a word he's singing anyway. But the test of time says I'm right. Fogerty doesn't perform it anymore, and no one ever plays it. Fogerty barely even mentions it in his book. Whatever. It's not that bad. That bridge is pretty awesome. The band was still hot shit, so they went right into the top 10 again. But whatever, the true test of this experiment was not going to be Fogerty's songs. Let's check out the B-side, the first Creedence song not written by John. Stu, the bassist, wrote this one. It's called Door to Door. Well,
What?
this sounds like ass. And Stu can't sing at all. At least I don't think he can. I can't tell behind all that reverb. Lyrically, it's about being a door-to-door salesman. I guess that's not too different from life on a riverboat. So, yeah, it's just like Proud Mary. If Proud Mary was a joke song by a guy who can't sing.
Ah! No!
I think this was supposed to be innuendo, and then he just forgot what he was doing. Okay, I have to believe that Doug and Stu are telling the truth. They didn't want this. They never demanded it. Because if they demanded to write songs, and all they had was a novelty about selling stain remover, it rhymes door with door. In any case, the full album came out in 1972.
Oh my god.
And that alone was a
One
big
of my
tell that
biggest
this didn't
musical
go
pet
well,
peeves
because
is
that
when
was
somebody
2
rhymes a
years
word
since
with the
their
same
last
word.
album. CCR
I
usually put out
fucking
records every 6
hate
months.
that.
I mean, every 3 months there was a Creedence single. Yeah. But that was too professional, so we decided to wait 12 months.
But you know, they're trying out some new shit. Maybe that's to be expected. It was called Mardi Gras. Because it's a party album. You know, Mardi Gras. Woo! Well, let's listen to the album proper. Let's kick this shit off. I mean, Creedence albums always start with a bang. Green River, Ramble Tamble, Down on the Corner, Born on the Bayou.
So good.
Always leading off strong, those albums. And here's the opener John wrote for this one, Looking for a Reason.
What? This is CCR? I've never heard this song, and I'm not surprised.
So, it's a country song. Interesting way to start. I guess Creedence was never far from country, but they were still always a rock band. They had muscle. This is just kind of sickly and sad.
Bro,
But
what
I do
is
notice
wrong?
That, yeah, this is extremely about the band breaking up. Yeah, it's not hard to figure out what's going on here. Hey, true story, but their last big hit before this album, Have You Ever Seen the Rain?
How dare
That was
you.
also about them breaking up.
This is a classic.
See, the sunny day is all their success, and the rain is the band dysfunction that was tearing them apart. But I'd have never guessed. I mean, it's poetic, it's universal. But I listen to this, and yeah, no song has ever been about just one thing more than this one. Because I Got High is more open to interpretation than this.
Because I got high, because I got high, because I got high.
Maybe it's about being high on life. Anyway, second song. Another one from Stu. Take It Like a Friend.
Maybe you move over, get someone else to change.
Storm clearing.
Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Big ol' nope.
Thought you had the honor.
Bro.
Oh my god. I thought he was bad on the last one, but
Bro.
I had no idea.
No.
Now I know why he needed all that reverb. In fact, can we slap
This is
the
a
reverb on this
Nakba
one
on
too?
my ears. Oh my god.
That's way better. Jesus Christ. No, hold on. Play it normally.
Maybe you move over, get someone else to change. Forgot about the other, moved out for the light, showing empty hands.
Yeah, Stu is just shit-talking John right to his face.
Seems so long when we began. Hope you take it like a friend.
And surprise, John did not take it like a friend. He refused to help at all. He barely even played guitar on any of the other guys' songs. Kind of a dick move, but I wouldn't want to help write a song about what an asshole I am either. And how can Stu claim
Welcome
now
to J-Dan.
that John forced him to write songs when he's clearly complaining that John should let them write songs?
Playing a pavilion on the outskirts of town.
Doug the drummer has 2 songs
What
after that.
is this?
They're fine. They're okay.
They're just not CCR.
With a song. They're not coming through with a song.
Actually, they're probably less than mediocre, but having heard Stu's songs, I'm inclined to be generous.
I paid no attention, left them books at home. Ralph played my music real loud.
Doug obviously still isn't as good a singer as John. John could fucking holler. Doug is just soft. He sounds like your grandpa. But at least he's better than Stu.
Lock the door.
By the way, Stu's third song in here is called Sail Away. It's about being a sailor. Mostly so he can shit talk the captain.
The captain of the sea, shouting orders to his crew.
Guess who that is? Who could he be talking about? Fitting that this is about sailors, because Stu is incredibly salty. An album about your own band chaos seems like it should be more entertainingly messy, but only Fleetwood Mac could pull that off because they had 3 songwriters. CCR had 1. Oh, and there's a cover song on here. Great, a cover. Now no one has to write anything. And CCR were a great covers band. Some of their biggest hits were covers. Susie Q, Midnight Special. This one's a cover of Ricky Nelson's Hello, Mary Lou.
Hello, Mary Lou. Goodbye, heart. Sweet Mary Lou, I'm so in love with you. I do, Mary Lou.
Okay, play them back to back.
How? I'm literally standing on the. Oh, okay. I will Jar Jar Binks making armpit farts for an hour. Instead of freeing Palestine, we'll workers unite.
It's the same fucking song. They've added nothing. There is one bright spot. At the end of side A, there is one great goddamn song. Someday Never Comes.
I love this song! Was asking mother why.
It is
There
so much better
were
than the rest of
many
the album. It's fucking
things
ridiculous.
I didn't
Yeah, this
know.
one is about John's
It's a
parents'
great
divorce
song.
and John's useless deadbeat dad. Considering that he was going through his own divorce, you can see why it was on his mind. He ended up not getting divorced, for the record. He stayed with his wife another 10, 15 years. And I think his own song convinced him. It's the standout track on the album by far. That's good stuff. Although, honestly, I would have maybe given it one more pass through before recording it. It does feel like maybe it's a little too fast, or the chorus should be louder. Reminds me a lot of Tuesday's Gone by Leonard Skinner, which came out the year after, and which I prefer, honestly. It soars a lot higher. I did wonder if that was just me being the nasty critic, gotta find something to complain about, but for what it's worth, Fogerty says the same thing. He also wishes he'd spent a little more time on it, but he hated the other guy so much at that point, he just wanted to get it done. And just wanting to get it done is the entire impression I get from this album. It took him 4 times as long as usual to get done, and it still only clocks in at under half an hour. I've had sandwiches that took me longer to finish than this record. By the 70s, bands are trying to give you your full money's worth on an LP. 28 minutes is a length that says that they just wanted to shit something out and call it a day. And one of the things that Creedence's critics used to give him shit for is being a singles band instead of an album band. You know, oh, they just exist to get radio hits. They're basically Maroon 5. And people had that idea because Creedence made albums the same way that Elvis or Chuck Berry would have in the 50s. You know, you record the singles, you let them become hits, and then you slap them on an LP. And then you fill out the rest with cover songs and a handful of deep cuts. They weren't trying to make Sgt. Pepper's, is what I'm saying. But that criticism only came from the real snobs. They were clearly wrong. Those albums are extremely cohesive. They're not just a collection of songs. But Mardi Gras absolutely is just a bunch of songs, slapped together in random order. I mean, it ends with Sweet Hitchhiker. That's not a closer, that's an opener. No one seems to have any interest or care in making this a real album. But believe it or not, a lot of critics liked it. Plenty of big publications gave it decent reviews. Rolling Stone was the only one that really went in hard on it. But Rolling Stone turned out to be absolutely right. This album blows. Doug and Stu say that John expected them to run before they could crawl and hung him out to dry like he was trying to embarrass them. Rolling Stone called it Fogerty's revenge. Fogerty says he wasn't trying to hurt anyone. I don't believe him at all. In any case, he sure wasn't trying to make it work. I've listened to this album a bunch of times now and I still can't remember Doug's songs, and I remember Stu's songs for all the wrong reasons. It's a death rattle from a group of very unhappy people working against each other rather than together. Everyone in it comes off like an asshole. Doug and Stu say Fogerty is a tyrant. Fogerty says there are a couple of talentless ingrates. I don't know who's right. But you know what? Springsteen never has drama with his band because he is the boss. That's his name. Everyone knows who makes the decisions. CCR should have just named themselves John Fogerty and the Creedences, and it would have been clear who was in charge, and none of this would have happened. Creedence never reunited except for Tom's wedding and their high school reunion. The hostility never subsided, and in fact, they're all still suing each other right now. What a waste. What a stupid idea this album was. Hey, I've got an idea. Why don't I make my dog write my reviews from now on? You're not pulling your weight, dog. Why do I have to do all the work? Give me 1,000 words on the new Eminem album. This is what you wanted, right? I heard you begging at me. That was clearly what you meant.
Oh man, I love CCR. What a great band, dude. Alright, should we watch this fucking stupid Jubilee? Someday Never Comes was the song. So should we watch this Jubilee? This is gonna be pain, but it'll piss me off, so content, you know? You know? Oh, hey, Nick. Not listen for my mental health. PVD is that special. Apparently everybody in it is really fucking stupid.
This is not the United States of Patrick Bet David.
Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. That already sounds so retarded. $1.5 for my sanity.
This is the United States of America.
Would you take money from a capitalist to help you go see a specialist?
I mean, yeah, sure, why not?
But would you also be open to seeing somebody else I choose as a psychologist that may...
No.
You're not?
No.
PBR.
You're offering people here jobs, right? You're saying that. They would have to pay you money to get that. So in reality, you're trying to convince them to pay you money to be part of your company.
Defaming. Be very careful defaming when you don't know the facts. I'm Patrick Bet David. I'm an entrepreneur and founder of PBD Podcast. Today, I'm surrounded by 20 anti-capitalists.
My potato computer.
My first claim is incentive to capitalism. Remove it and the system fails.
Hey, great to meet you, Patrick.
What's your name?
My name's Mason.
Mason, good to meet you.
Yeah. I'm valuetained. I'm a big fan of the channel.
Are you
so,
really?
yeah, I do watch it quite regularly.
Very cool.
I do not agree with your claim. I don't think that incentives are only born out of capitalism.
Okay.
Most capitalist defenders say that incentive is because of scarcity, and people's ability to get what is necessary pushes them to work harder. I disagree with that. I'd say that some of our hardest workers are single moms working 3 to 4 jobs, and the resources that they're able to acquire compared to those that utilize their workers in order to build profit for their own companies is not equivocal.
So how would you do it? How would you change it?
Yeah, so I think that humans inherently want to be meaningful. They want to contribute to their communities. They want to contribute to society. When you look at depression rates, oftentimes it's people who aren't able to do anything besides laying in their bed and basically barely taking care of themselves. So I think that it's just a human intrinsic value to want to bring value to their community or grander society.
Okay,
so I don't think that has to be through scarcity alone that scares people into working. If that makes sense.
I worked for scarcity. I think there's levels to it. You have the survival folks who work for survival to pay their bills. Some work for status, some work for freedom, and some work for legacy. The folks that work 3 or 5 jobs, to pay their bills and do what they're doing, if the incentive wasn't there, they wouldn't work 3 to 5 jobs. Some of the guys that build a bigger business that solve a lot of problems.
The incentive there is either I die or I work. That's not really a system that rewards merit. That's a system that pushes people into insecure positions.
Not necessarily. In many cases, we put ourselves in situations as well. But when we're talking
are you saying that it's an individual failure for these single mothers that are working 3 to 4 jobs?
For some of
what
them,
is this?
For some of them, it is.
I'm glad you bite that bullet because most people are not going to say that. It's
That's so stupid, bro. Why do you think they're working 3 to 4 jobs? You retarded fucking inbred. Oh my god! What an idiot! Oh, this is gonna be really bad. Oh my god. Okay.
Came from the single mother system. My mother was a single mother. We had, my parents got a divorce twice. They married each other. They divorced. They remarried each other. Divorced again. I came up. We didn't have a lot of choices. I joined the army. I got in that system. Kind of wanted to see what I was going to do for myself. Do I stay in the army? Do I get out of the army? I started working in sales. And then the incentive of working harder, eventually I built a good life for myself.
Again, you're totally dismissing the hard work that a lot of these people are putting into for just basic survival. I'd say that mechanics and plumbers and most people working blue-collar jobs that are probably watching this video are working tirelessly day after day.
I don't
but yet
disagree.
they still feel insecure positions to where they don't even know if they're going to be able to afford rent in the next 6 months.
So let me ask
if
you,
most Americans have a $400 to $500 emergency, they can't even afford that with the basic savings that they have. So this is not something that we should celebrate as promises of a system that gives you more if you work harder. We should say that this is something that rewards few. And I'm glad that you're an outlier that's been able to build a lot of success for yourself. I know that you're a multimillionaire. That's fantastic that you have those resources. But the thing is that cannot happen for everybody in society.
He just lives in an entirely different universe.
I don't think not everybody can be a billionaire or a millionaire, but I do think people can find ways to use their time to effectively increase their market value. And I don't think many people do that. When I talk to people and they tell me, I watch this show, I watch every one of these shows, I watch every one of these Netflix shows, you can use that time to increase your market value instead of kind of focus on what's going on with the stories and shows that are out there.
Let's move away from Netflix and TV shows and talk specifically about
I heard something happened to rewards people.
Okay, so how would you say that this is a meritocracy when we have some people that are born into excessive wealth and some people that are working minimum wage jobs to provide for 3 or 4 kids? How would you say that that's a meritocratic society?
Those are 2 different things.
Right, they are 2 different things. Very unequal things.
Well, no, not necessarily. The parents get credit for making responsible decisions so they can take care of their kids. The parents get credit.
Meritocracy, though. We're building dynasties of wealth.
Not necessarily. I didn't come from dynasties of wealth.
I know, you're an outlier. I get that individual. We're talking about systems. Capitalism is a system. It's not an individual testimony.
But it's a system that you get to use in your advantage. It's a system that's produced the best results than any other economical system. There's not an economical system that's produced better results than this based on the incentive.
History is a march of progress, right? So there are going to be advancements that we make, or there's going to be solutions that we make to previous ailments. I'm not saying that capitalism hasn't brought in better things than systems like feudalism or monarchy, but that does not mean that we're at the end of history. Do you think that capitalism is the final solution, and this is what we're going to last?
I think capitalism is the best economical system because it gives an incentive for you to decide how big of a life you want to build. And by the way, the best way to judge it, let me just say this to you, the best way to judge it is in a very simple way. Take all the countries around the world. There's many different economical systems. What has the longest line of people wanting to get in there? It's America. Why is that? 15 million people came here illegally. Millions came here illegally just the last 4 years.
A lot of that is because of economic scarcity in other countries. Well, one of them we could talk about. One is American exceptionalism, which is continuing. Good to meet you.
Thank you. How are you? What's your name?
Hi, I'm Alana. It's nice to meet you. Okay, so I think the issue is the framing of incentive here. Incentive doesn't disappear in a socialist or a communist society. It just changes and evolves. So we see in capitalism the incentive is obviously monetary gain, maybe even collecting capital itself through land ownership. In a communist or a socialist country, you would see incentive would just evolve into, I know it's a vague term, but the common good. You have an incentive to do your chores around your house.
Why?
Like, that makes sense. It doesn't have to be.
How are you going to deal with the fact that the commodities have inherent value, that labor has inherent value? We're not there yet. Just because they want to?
Case study? We don't even need to look at case studies. We can just look at charity work.
Why don't we actually look at a case study? You got two countries, North Korea, South Korea. One is communism and one is capitalism.
Shit, Daniel.
Yes.
North
Yeah,
Korea's
vibes,
GDP
exactly.
Last year was $23 billion.
Are we judging countries' values based on GDP and not what they value for
freedom of speech? You can't, like, if you lived in North Korea, you wouldn't be able to do what you're doing right now. You wouldn't have a voice. In South Korea, I'm gonna give you stats. In South Korea, their GDP is $1.7 trillion.
South Korea is also owned by like 5 companies in total in the entire country. You think that's something about, if you are employed by the top 5 countries, you are practically unemployed in the country.
Do you like to be free?
I'm not going to be free in a country like South Korea where I'm only employed in 5 companies or no job.
Like me? Do you like to be free where you can have a strong opinion? Do you like to be free to have
I like to be free, but that's why I'm anti-capitalist.
Well, maybe you are.
That is why I'm anti-capitalist, because capitalism removes that choice. There is no real incentive of capitalism because the incentive is survival. When you get into communism, the incentive is for the common good.
I love that. I got an offer for you.
I'm sorry, what?
If I were to give you...
The incentive is survival? That's obviously not true. What a fucking dumb thing to say. Hey, dude, oh my god, every one of these people is going to be a fucking idiot. Obviously, the incentive isn't just survival. The incentive is survival. The incentive is enhancing that survival with creature comforts, things you enjoy, being able to do things in life that you know, enhance your life and well-being. Like, this idea that the only thing you care about is surviving just isn't true. Even those people who are like just getting by paycheck to paycheck in the United States of America are getting to enjoy things here and there that people in a lot of other countries aren't getting to enjoy. Should there be a situation where certain people are getting paid more for their value? Maybe, and that's a discussion we could definitely have, and I think that's a worthwhile discussion. But this idea that because, you know, there are people who aren't making as much as other millionaires, and there are millionaires and billionaires who exist, that means capitalism has failed is like inherently just fucking wrong.
Your $2,350, which is the cost to renunciate your citizenship, and I paid you your first class, flight to whatever communist country, and $20,000 of spending money. Would you give up your citizenship to go to that country? Whichever communist country you want to go to. Cuba, we can give you Venezuela, we give you North Korea.
Oh, she's gonna do the thing. I mean, she's gonna be right though. She's gonna say there's never really been a communist country, which is right. But the reason there's never really been a communist country is because it's not gonna work on a large scale. Like it can work in like communities and shit. But it's not going to work on, like, a large scale. Not in this world. Not the way it stands.
Hi. What's your name? My name's Hunter. I'm going to be honest, I've never seen your videos before. Even though there is some real value to free enterprise, the profit motive often creates a perverse incentive and worse outcomes in certain situations. For example, healthcare. How much would you pay for life-saving treatment for yourself or one of your family members? How much?
I probably agree healthcare shouldn't be privatized. Because you don't really want profit motives for people's health in general, I think. But once again, saying that we should have mixed economies doesn't mean that we need to get rid of capitalism altogether.
I pay for it. Say you have cancer and you have an 80% survival rate with chemotherapy and less than 10% without it. How much would you pay? Whatever it takes, right? Sure. That's a situation of inelastic demand, when the amount that you're willing to pay is not based on the value of the service, because your life does not have a finite value. In the US, 66.5% of all bankruptcies...
Bro is using, like, terms of capitalism, and now he's going to argue against capitalism. The fact that he mentioned inelastic demand means he understands there are things that are elastic. So you want to make those things not private either? It doesn't make any fucking sense. Yeah. I just said that, Mohammed. I agree healthcare should not be privatized. I don't think that leads to the best outcomes. it's not. I mean, I also think people sometimes blow certain aspects out of it out of proportion, but for the most part, I would say, yeah, healthcare shouldn't be privatized, or at least there should be public options, right? Like you can have privatized options, but you have options that are available for people who can't afford private healthcare options.
Because of medical debt. In most other developed nations, that number is way lower, if not zero. And at the same time, the U.S. does not have one of the best healthcare systems in the world. We pay over $13,000 per capita. Meanwhile, Taiwan, which by most metrics has the best healthcare system and a national healthcare service, only pays about $2,500 per capita per year.
So what does that tell you?
That tells us
that's wasted expenditure.
Yes, that is a massively wasted expenditure.
That tells you the government doesn't know how to spend our money.
No,
they keep
in our
raising
case,
taxes,
we're
we keep more money, and they don't know how to spend the money.
No, most of that money is coming from private insurance. In fact, 77% of the people who went bankrupt from medical debt had insurance and then lost it because they couldn't pay.
So we can address that, the fact that 60-something% of bankruptcies are due to health, which is your right. We've done many content on that piece. I want you to come back to incentive. Address the issue with incentive right now, with capitalism.
The reason why the medical debt is so high in that is because of the profit motive. If people will pay whatever it takes to not die, the profit motive in that case is perverse because healthcare shouldn't be a market in the same way that other things might be a market.
So you don't think that the motive to have profit to come out with a solution is a good thing for the marketplace, specifically
I think it depends on which market you're talking about. It's way different when we're talking about video games or cell phones or TVs or other goods that aren't as necessary as
You're
healthcare
specific to
treatments.
healthcare.
Yes, I'm talking specifically about healthcare and certain other markets.
You ever heard of Home Depot? You ever heard of Home Depot?
Yes, I'm aware.
So one of the guys who's the founders of Home Depot, investors of Home Depot, his name is Ken Langone. His father died at 62 years old. Ken Langone today is roughly 90 years old, give or take. When he died at 62 years old, he tells the story that if there was a simple thing as blood thinners, his father would have lived to be 90 years old just like he is today.
Yes, that makes
came
sense.
because of innovation, which he's been on for many years. My dad's been on blood thinners for the last 40 years. So
I think
the
you're
incentive to create a
conflating
solution-
two things right now. Not
No, it's
all
about
innovation
incentive.
is
It's
the
about
result
incentive.
of the market because many
Most
healthcare
is,
developments
though.
are created by research grants from healthcare funding, whether it's in the United States or
Over
other countries. In
two-thirds.
most other first world countries, the result of medical research developments, which are massively outpacing now in the U.S. now because of our inefficiency, because we have a market-based system for healthcare.
A very basic
most
question
of
for
that
you.
is
A
because
very basic
of
question for you.
non-market-based systems.
Basic question for you. If that's the case, it keeps going back to the same thing. If it's better in other places than it is here, why are Americans and others not going there? Why are people coming here? It's very basic.
How much does a plane ticket cost?
No, they have the money to go to different places. They don't because they know America is the greatest country in the world. They know it. Appreciate
Nice to meet you, by the way.
I'm Luke.
Luke,
Yes,
like
Luke.
the hat. Good to meet you.
Oh, thank you very much. Good to meet you too. So I think incentives are exactly the fundamental problem with capitalism. That you say incentives are what make it work, and I think that's the whole issue. Is that the primary incentives are either greed, amass as much personal wealth as you possibly can.
You think that's the problem? It's greed?
Yeah, exactly. And like
you're not greedy at all.
And like you said, survival.
Yeah.
Right. The person working 5 jobs, that they're doing that so they wouldn't want to do that if they didn't need to survive. But that's such a horrible dystopian world to live in. Someone has to work 5 jobs just to survive.
How did they get there? How much of that is on their decision making? How much of that is on their doing? How much of that is on the market where they're not finding ways to improve themselves?
It doesn't matter how much onus is on the individual. We want to create a
Of course
world.
it is.
No. See, we want to create a world.
You see, the problem here is that they say things like that, but then if they were put in like a non-individualistic society, they'd all fucking lose their shit too, because they'd be like, I don't have to do things the way you tell me. Nah, free speech and my rights. Bro, like, you can't have it both ways. You either get to have that individualism the way it is, and you're going to have to deal with some form of personal responsibility, or the government decides everything for you, and you don't get to have that individualism.
Which people don't have to earn their right to exist,
and
to live.
we live in a country where majority of the world wants to come here. The most important citizenship country is America.
Right.
People give up their lives to come here. Have you ever lived in another country before?
No, not lived, no.
Why do you think so many want to come here?
I think the people coming here are coming from
Hey,
gang-ridden,
buddy.
corruption-ridden, violence-ridden.
Is it GOX or
I
GOX?
lived in Iran. I lived there 11 years.
How should I pronounce it? Or X?
South
Most
America?
people come here because what you're doing to me, you're sitting across from me right now.
Right.
Millions of people are going to watch this. In America, you can call me out. You can say whatever you want.
Right.
Nothing's going to happen.
Right.
You're free and safe here, right?
Sure. Freedom of speech has
You
nothing
can't
to
do
do
that
with
in
capitalism.
Iran. Of course it is. There's a lot of elements with America. You're talking incentive. The amount of benefits America offers against other countries, it's so much higher, where somebody with big dreams, incentives, they're willing to come and say, I want to come to America, please let me in. And some come and take advantage of it. But to say the individual that's working 3 to 5 jobs, if you do that for a season, if you do that for 2 years.
The letter X? What E? Gawk. What you talking about?
If you do that for 5 years, fine. If you do that for 20, 30 years, you're doing something wrong.
But the point is, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? Those are the inalienable rights. We shouldn't have to earn those rights.
Oh, I said, is it GOX? GOX or X? Like G, letter G, the letter O, the letter X. Go Mario. Oh, is that a little face at the end? Let's go Mario. How do you want me to refer to you, I guess is the question that I'm asking. I have a friend who was born in Korea before the divide, and he had the misfortune of growing up in the North-controlled area during the war before he fled. You had your profession chosen for you from childhood, no choices. He was voluntold to be a mechanic. Yeah, okay, cool. You don't care. Cool. I'll just say go. All right, cool. Go. Go, Luigi. Let's go.
To earn the right to
You do
healthcare,
have to
to
earn it.
earn the right. No,
I
because
actually-
this is just we just want to live, just exist. We can't work our blood, sweat, and tears just to survive. That's a horrible dystopian world that we live in right now.
Then what do you think we're here for? To just sit around and play video games?
We're
What do you
here-
think we're here for? To sit around and watch TV shows?
We're here
to sit around and watch cat
we're
videos?
here-
What
we
do
are
you think
here.
we're
We are here to create a prosperous community to lift
How do you
everyone
create a
up.
prosperous community? How do you create a prosperous community? Matter of fact, for you, how have you positively impacted the community?
I guess volunteering, food banks,
Volunteer
habitat
food. I
community.
appreciate you for doing that. Have you created jobs for others?
Created jobs? No, I wouldn't say
Why
so.
have you not?
I haven't had the ability to do so.
Do you think it's easier?
To create jobs is probably
True.
hard, yeah.
Okay, so the people that create jobs, you think they should have a little bit of incentive for having risked their life savings, spend time away their families to create jobs so somebody like you can work for that company?
Sure, but that
that
does
is
not,
the incentive.
And bravo for them, but that does not give them the right to pay themselves $2 million bonuses
You
while
don't,
there's
but
other workers are scraping by at like $10 an hour.
you don't get to choose how much money I choose to make. That's not your business. That's my business. If you have 4 girlfriends and I have 1, is it my business to tell you can't have 4 girlfriends?
I think
if you play 7 hours of Fortnite every day,
right,
and I don't play Fortnite at all, should I tell you you shouldn't be able to play 7 hours of Fortnite a day?
In my view.
Hey, appreciate you.
Absolutely.
How are you? What's your name?
Zena.
Zena.
Awesome. So this claim about incentive is one that we see often promoted by capitalism enjoyers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's this idea that profit incentive is the only thing that can make humans do things, get up out of bed every day, which has never been the case. Historically, it's not the case. Psychologically,
Historically, it's never been the case?
No,
What has been the case?
So we've seen
What's been the incentive?
The incentive is intrinsic motivation.
Intrinsic motivation?
Of course. Have you ever heard of intrinsic motivation?
Of course I have. So you think people are going to go just do anything for no incentives?
The incentive is intrinsic, meaning passion, interest, and honing your skills.
Whether you get paid or not.
Well, the problem is that we're forcing people to, need to, work to survive.
So
in
what's the
system.
alternative? So give me another solution, another
May I
economical
finish
system.
talking?
Yeah, actually,
right,
I'm
awesome.
curious.
So yeah, psychological theory of self-determination.
Oh, I missed how
widely
she
accepted in
spelled her
psychology.
name. How did she spell it?
It basically explains that intrinsic motivation and passion is actually what predicts incentive. You're arguing that incentive is integral to profit-driven motivation. That's not true. Extrinsic motivation, at all times, at every single case, is going to predict less creativity, less motivation, less skill, etc. Intrinsic motivation is what causes things like technological development. Some of the greatest breakthroughs have been from people who are devoted in honing their skill.
So should they get paid for it?
I think that we shouldn't live in a system that privately owns the means of production and forces people in this position.
What college did you go to?
USC.
You went to USC. What did you major in?
Sociology.
Sociology. Who's your hero as a professor? Who's
Wow,
the professor you look
this
up to?
doesn't seem like a topic
Do you know
that's
why I
related
asked
to
this question?
capitalism.
The reason why I asked this question is because somebody convinced you of that.
I don't
Somebody
think it's a-
convinced you that
so
is the way
psychology
that
and studies
produces-
convinced me of this fact
Yeah,
about the human
but
mind.
unfortunately, to your claim, results show that the greatest
Results
economical
show that
system
intrinsic
is
motivation predicts more
capitalism
creativity
that allows
and more
people to go
profit
above and
than
beyond
anything
and
like
solve
extrinsic
every single issue out there. An entrepreneur who gets up, who says,
What was your
I'm
claim
gonna
again,
be-
mister?
I'm going to incentive. The
Incentive. What
entrepreneur
about
who has an
incentive?
incentive to go out there and build their lives, and you put
So
no
I'm saying that this
monetary
incentive that you're talking about,
Yeah.
what predicts the best incentive, the best drive, and the best
So what do
creativity
you think about
has been
Elon
proven by
Musk? What do you think
psychology.
about Elon Musk?
Can we respond to my claim?
This is about incentive.
All right, awesome. So you're arguing that incentive is intrinsic and tied to extrinsic motivation. What we find is that the best incentive comes from intrinsic motivation.
So a person that's passionate about solving an issue is going to build something bigger.
I don't know. It's impossible to know that because even if that were true, it's still all under the guise and system of capitalism, right? So more than likely someone's going to be like, yeah, I wanted to innovate this thing, and the rewards for it aren't bad either. But like, how do you know they're even telling the truth?
And somebody else that's not.
Yeah, so someone who has a true passion for this.
Yeah, so
exactly. So profit motivation is not the thing that's driving innovation,
Of
right?
course it is.
Psychology.
Of course
so
it is.
psychology proves that's not the
If
case.
there's not,
that profit's not the reason that we have the greatest inventions that we do today.
I don't know if
Psychology
I
is
disagree with the fact that there's a
soft
passion behind
science.
it. Are you saying people with passion, even if there wasn't the incentive to make as much money as they would make, people would still
That's
pursue
exactly
it
what-
even with or
that's-
without money?
that's what psychology
Well,
says.
your claims are wrong because
not true.
Whoever your psychology professor is,
It's
if
not-
you look at data and you find out how America, that's only been around for 249 years, schooled all the other countries that have been around for hundreds,
Yeah,
if
I'll
not
tell you
thousands of
how.
years
They
more,
schooled all-
they did better
they-
than others because the incentive
Because they
was
accumulated
free market
profit, right,
capitalism.
to
That's
1%
why.
of the population
Not
and
necessarily.
continue to produce
No,
on that
not
basis.
necessarily. It's
Right? We
not-
have this. Okay.
It's
so
not necessarily.
Do we want
When-
to respond because you can say that?
You've been interrupting the entire time. So if you're saying about the 1% are the problem and they're the only ones that make money,
That's
a lot
not
of
what I
people
said.
make money. You said the profit goes to the 1%.
I'm explaining how it is that America has become the dominant power that it is now, right? What we see is that because we have this engine, right, this desire to accumulate profit, we morally justify things like going to other countries, imperializing them, colonizing them, and extracting their resources, right, to funnel our country, right? Social democracies in the Nordic countries don't do this. So yeah, they might not be the wealthiest power, but they have higher rates of education, literacy, human satisfaction, etc. Right? So it depends on what we actually value in
Human
society.
behavior
Do we value
validates-
well-being or do we value
human
profit
behavior
accumulation?
validates your point. If that's the case, people would move to those states. They don't. When you judge a great restaurant by the amount of people that come in, you can say the food sucks.
Oh,
here.
they're
You can say
both
the food sucks
stupid.
here, but everybody's lined up to want to come here. They're not lined
They're
up
both
to
being
countries.
stupid.
They're just used by professors as theories.
There were millions of people that also lived in Germany in the 1920s.
I lived in Germany before as well for 2 years.
Hey, before we go any further, we want to take a moment to say thanks so much to Straight Arrow News for powering the fact checks in this video. Straight Arrow News is on a mission to raise
That's
the
a
bar on
big
journalism
part
in a
of
time
it,
of media
but-
bias and mistrust. Straight Arrow News helps you quickly find trusted information you need to understand the news, allowing you to dive deep into the topics that matter to you.
They also have strong social safety nets and a very unregulated free market, which those two things, hey, what do you know? They happen to work together real well.
And the world around you. Their work is trying to break the bias bubble, helping you understand how every side of the political spectrum is reporting on a story, so you get a full picture of the news. That's why we're so happy to be partnering with Straight Arrow News.
Yeah,
they
I
deliver
know,
the facts,
Daniel.
unbiased,
Exactly.
balanced, and designed to make sense of a complex world, getting you the clarity you deserve and news you can trust. Go to san.com/surrounded or click the link in the description to check it out. By clicking that link, you're not just supporting this channel. You also take advantage of a better way to get the news. Welcome back to Trustworthy Journalism. Thanks again to Straight Arrow News for partnering with us on this episode. Now, let's get into it.
My next claim is capitalism has lifted more people out of poverty than any other system.
Oh
How are you?
boy.
Gabby? Good to meet you.
Oh no. I can't possibly imagine. They're not going to argue the point. They're going to argue. They must argue that their ideal system would do it better. That has to be the point they're going to argue.
So I would argue that governments have actually lifted the most people out of poverty. If you look historically, we look at China, for instance, had the most significant poverty reduction in all of human history. They pulled 800 million people out of poverty using state-owned enterprises and state centralized planning. They did work with the capitalist system, but they did it, most of it was done through state-funded infrastructure, education.
Where do they get all the money for that?
And contributing to strong literacy programs, redistributing the wealth. I think that my other argument
Yeah,
would be that there hasn't
exactly.
been an opportunity for alternative
Exactly.
systems like socialism to pull in.
This is why I just said, where do they get the money to do that?
There hasn't been enough opportunities for them to succeed. And so when
Why
we
do you think
say,
that is?
I think that is because, partly because of the US, and I think because capitalist forces and global market insecurities have sabotaged these attempts to do socialism. So we look at an example in Chile in the 1960s, they elected a democratic socialist, and he proposed literacy reform, wealth redistribution, land reform, and all of that was a threat, obviously, to the United States because McCarthyism was on the rise at the time. And so instead of allowing Allende to have a chance with that, the U.S. Orchestrated a CIA-backed coup to take over and to have a military dictatorship that led the country instead of Allende, who actually was having a lot of success in reducing the poverty rates before the U.S. interfered. And so I think we look at other parts of Latin America, like Venezuela, for instance, and we see the same thing. We see that the U.S. has interfered several times. You know, with Chavez in Venezuela, he was able to reduce the poverty reduction in half in the first decade of him being in office, and he was sabotaged ultimately by the U.S. and by a military dictatorship. So that the people that replaced them were actually.
So may I respond? It's a lot of different cases here. So
Sure.
thank you for that. So let's go China first. Okay, so when you say China was able to recover and because they use state-funded, nationalized systems. So in 1978, Xiaoping, the leader of China, went to Japan. He saw what was going on with Japan for 2 decades. Every year their GDP was growing by 15%. The economy was doubling pretty much every 4 years. They go over there, they say, we got to find a way to compete with Japan. How do they have fewer people but they're beating us? They sit down with their leaders after a few drinks. Eventually they say, how did you fix your economy to be growing the way that it is? A capitalistic society that they had in Japan. They asked the question from Xiaoping, the Prime Minister Fukuda, asked the question, how many banks do you guys have in China? He says, we have 1 bank. He said, it's a nationalized bank? He says, yeah. That's it? Yeah. How many loan officers do you have? Not many. You want to compete with 1 bank? Yes. He says, if you want to compete with us or others, here's what you have to do. You need 5,000 banks with 35 branches, with 30 loan officers. That's a total of 5.25 million loan officers and a population of 600 million people that are living there. You do that every week. You take 10 applications with these loan officers for small business owners, and you allow the small business owner to compete. They did that. China started competing. By the way, in America in the 1920s, we had around 30,000 banks when we were really, competing in the marketplace. In the 80s, we ended up having around 14,000. Today, we only have 4,100 banks in America. That concept of allowing just 1 bank to compete, it's not going to work. China takes on the idea from Japan.
If I
they
can
start
interrupt
growing.
you, I mean, I think that
they start growing with certain capitalistic
I think you're
philosophies.
thinking about this in very capitalist terms, which makes sense. You're a capitalist, but
Because it works. That's the idea. Because it's produced the
You're only thinking about
results.
these scenarios in a situation where market mechanisms are in place, and this is the problem that I have with so many capitalists: is they can't exit their worldview and try to see a world where socialism could be in place because they don't understand the untapped potential of socialism. And I'm a democratic socialist. I think that we need to build forward towards that with reforms, and I think we need to work with the government. I don't think that we should abandon the state. I also don't think that we should give state elites the complete control over society. I do think that we should work with the state to instill these reforms and then eventually erode
But
capitalism.
unfortunately, socialism has had hundreds of
But you're
years
thinking in terms of
to produce
competition.
results, and it hasn't worked. Do you know why it doesn't work, though?
It's been sabotaged.
It's been sabotaged, or it's because it forces people to do something they don't want to do.
Does capitalism not do the same?
No, capitalism gives
There's
you the-
7 million people in this
capitalism
country
allows
who
you
have to
to
work
choose.
multiple jobs just to get
I
by.
have to work multiple jobs
They're
for a
forced
season.
to do
Yeah.
that because either they do that or they starve. So if the options are to work or to starve, that's not freedom, that's economic choice.
And then later
Respectfully,
on,
if you do
they
that for a period of your
focused
life,
on
I understand
technologies.
it. If you're doing
like
that for 30 years,
hardcore.
you're doing something wrong. You shouldn't be working multiple jobs for the rest of your life.
And
First of all, I'm not
auto,
gonna argue
their
this
auto
argument. I think
industry
that people
is
who
huge.
live in poverty, especially when we look at how many people live in poverty poverty in this country, and also it depends on how you define the poverty line, but there's 40 million Americans who live below the poverty line in this country. There's 3 guys in this country that own 40% of the wealth. How does that work in a country that is
You really
built
want to go
on-
there? You
Sure.
want to go there? Okay, so let's
Yeah.
talk about it. So
You wanna go there?
when we talk about the rich people at the top, okay, and you say, well, the rich don't pay enough taxes. You know what the bottom 50% of taxpayers in America pay towards the revenue that the government gets in taxes?
Yes.
Do you know what the bottom 50% pays? 2% of taxes. You know what the top 1% pays?
There's been several years.
Do you know what
that
the top
they've
1%
paid nothing. They've made nothing
Hang on a
about it.
second. This is from the IRS. I'm not writing a blog from Huffington Post. This is not Daily Beast. I'm telling you the story. The top
I'll say
1%
this.
pays 42%
I'll say this: the
of all
top 1%
tax
is
revenue.
about to pay a lot less in taxes because of the provision
They'll
that just went
actually end
into
up paying
Trump's,
even
your
more
guys'
revenue to the
big
government.
beautiful bill.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That was fast.
Hi, I'm Anne.
Anne, good to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So I do want to address part of the claim about poverty, but I also want to address what you brought up about like paying taxes. So you said the top 1% pays
Oh,
a lot
no.
of taxes. The problem is that the bottom 2 quintiles can't pay taxes because they quite literally have no wealth. Do you understand that? Like the bottom quintile of the
That
United
sucks,
States doesn't
dude.
have any wealth. In fact, they're in debt, so they have
Well,
literally like
Mazda.
negative wealth.
Why do you think that is?
I think that's for a lot of reasons. I think that's because workers have been exploited. I think that they haven't had the opportunity to gain social mobility
Why do you think that is?
because of exploitation.
You think they're being exploited?
Yes, of
Oh,
course.
so people are being forced to work at companies. They don't have a
I
choice.
like the
I'd say that
CX-5. That's a good
They
card.
are being forced if the other option is starve or die.
What job do you have right now? What do you do for a living?
I do work from home stuff. I don't
Okay,
want to
so
disclose that.
so you chose to do
For a
that. Right? That's your
crossover.
choice. Great. If
I
somebody
kinda
works
hate
at Starbucks
crossovers,
as a
but-
barista, it's their choice. If somebody has a
CX-5 's
job
pretty
that they're
good.
working, it's their choice. If somebody is not utilizing their time properly and accordingly, of course the market's
Choice
not going to
how?
pay you
Do you
more.
think that, like, they brought up single mothers earlier. Do you think that single mothers are sitting around playing Fortnite 15 hours a day?
Unfortunately, single mothers were manipulated.
Although if you had said Miata, I would have known you have just a massive fucking schlong.
On what happened.
that a yes or no?
Single mothers were manipulated by what Lyndon Johnson came out with. They changed the benefits on giving single mothers the incentive to have kids on all the welfare program. That changed our system in a major way. The feminist movement got single mothers to believe they don't need men and they're going to do everything by themselves and they don't need a man to help them out. This division that's happened between us caused many people to be in the situation that they're
most
at.
households are 50-50. They're closer to 50-50
Not
today, so that has nothing to do with feminism.
not
Feminism
necessarily.
didn't just like convince women because they're too stupid to think
Feminism
for
was one of the
themselves.
worst things that happened in America because it pinned men
Wait,
against women.
Do you think that women are so stupid that they've
No,
been
I don't.
brainwashed? Okay, so you don't think that they've just fallen into this?
What kind of capitalist would say feminism is one of the worst things that happened in America? What a fucking stupid fucking thing to say.
Feminist propaganda. You don't think they're idiots?
No, I don't
You
think that, but I do think people can be
But
manipulated
they're
and
not
brainwashed.
stupid enough to do that because the majority
There
of
are
people are
so
splitting
many, there are so
nearly
many
towards
people that bought
50-50.
into a philosophy that stole decades away from their lives. Decades away from their lives because they
What
bought
is
into an idea that didn't produce the results.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about capitalism is the best economical system that provides the best results for people.
But we can't just jump back and forth between claim to claim to claim. So the claim about feminism brainwashing people into being single mothers. How
No,
does
I
that work?
didn't. I said feminists originally brainwashed women to believe men are the enemy. That led to where we are today. Last
has
week,
led them to
report
being
came
single
in.
mothers?
Yes, in many cases because they don't need men.
Do you have evidence for that? You really think a
100%.
single mother wants to be a single mother?
Absolutely, we
you
have
think,
evidence
you
of
think
that.
the single mother making minimum wage down the road, like working for some grocery
due
store,
to the
having to take care of all
due
her
to the
children,
amount of
is just like,
entitlement
I just don't need a man. I
what
just want to be independent.
What percentage?
Yeah, I'm still stuck on that. What a dumb fucking thing to say. He's so audience captured by like the red pill right wing people that he had to fucking say that. Any person who's a capitalist would say that's fucking stupid because that's more labor. Well, fucking stupid thing to say.
What percentage of the U.S. revenue that we get in do you think we use for entitlement programs? What percentage?
I don't remember the exact
What do you think the number is? So we bring in
But it's far
$4.9
less
trillion.
than what we do in private spending.
We bring $4.9 trillion in. Okay, the U.S. revenue comes in. What percentage do you think goes to entitlement programs?
I don't know. I
What
don't
do you think is a reasonable number?
Well, what you're calling entitlement programs, I'm actually not sure what you mean by that.
I'm talking about Social Security. I'm talking
Okay,
about
so social
Section
welfare.
8. I'm talking about any of these.
It's much
What
less than other
percentage-
OECD countries.
What percentage do you think?
I don't
it is?
remember the exact percentage, but
I
it's
want
much
you
less
to
than
guess.
other
What do you
OECD
think it is?
countries.
You think
We
it's
are
10%,
far behind.
20%, 30%? What do you think the number is?
No, but it's relatively low compared to
But
other
what do
OECD
you think it
countries.
is? Can you guess the number?
I don't remember the number off the top of my head. I've already said that.
68%. How much more entitlement?
68%. Can we fact check that?
You can fact check that.
Okay.
Please do so.
Please.
68%
Please.
goes to entitlement
Of our
programs.
federal budget?
Okay, I mean he's not far off. Oh. Oh no. That part though.
No, of the revenue that comes in, 68%.
So the capita GDP.
Not GDP. You're confusing the two different things here. Actual tax revenue that we get.
Okay, so tax revenue.
68%
Okay, now
of
more
it goes
specific.
towards entitlement programs. 68%. Thank you. How are you?
Okay.
Grace?
Yes, Grace.
Good to meet
Hi. I want to say that I think it's pretty comical that an elite.
No,
such
I
as yourself
know.
has
This is
the
why
gall
I'm
to tell
getting
us
extra
African-American-
frustrated. He's saying some pretty. I mean, like, I'm barely even paying attention to the shit he's saying. I'm more just listening to them because, like, just a lot of what he's saying is kind of useless.
Who's in poverty and who's not. A lot of
I
times
was an average American.
You're
I
not
was a guy that
anymore.
was in poverty.
You're not
And
anymore.
you can also
you're
change.
very.
You can also change.
Anyways,
Do you believe
you're
you can
talking about.
change?
a lot of times that the market for poverty is actually very low. So a lot of times like $2 a day is the line for how they measure poverty.
$2.15, yeah.
And that's ridiculous. So if I make $5 a day, I'm not in
But that's
poverty.
because it's
I
around
can
the world,
actually
not
live.
in
I can pay
America.
the rent.
Sure.
But we're talking about this country, right? We're not talking about around the world. I've noticed that you like to do that. You like to like skirt from America and talk about other
Yeah, actually,
countries
I've been
to try
saying
to make it
multiple
look like
times,
we're better, but we're
America's
actually
the
getting
greatest
worse.
country in the world.
Anyways, it's the greatest country.
Hands down,
We're,
it's not
we
even
are at the
close.
highest that we've ever been with homelessness since we started collecting
Why is
data.
that? Are you from
Because
California?
we haven't had a pay
Are you
raise
from
since
California?
2009.
Do you live
Our
here?
minimum wage nationally is $7.25.
Okay.
And you wonder why we have the highest poverty rate. You think that capitalism's winning? Can you survive? Would you like to live off $7.25
I used
an
to
hour?
work for $4.25 at Haagen-Dazs.
Right.
Then I
And that
went
was
and
a
worked
very
at
different time.
Burger King for $4.75.
And how much do you make
Then
now?
I went to, I make millions today.
Exactly.
Then I
Right, and
worked
that's
at
why you
Bob's
like
Big Boy.
capitalism, because we're not all making that.
But
And
the
that's my
difference
point.
is, but
A
the difference
millionaire is
between
critiquing people in poverty
the
and saying,
difference, my
you should
hope,
work harder, you should work, you
my
should be
hope,
elite.
my
We can't all
hope,
be it.
my hope is that you believe you can change and improve. That you believe you can upgrade yourself. That's my
It's
belief.
very, you know what, that's what rich people like you want to keep telling us.
But
You
yeah,
can be
the
just like
difference-
me. Do you want to be like me? It's not very
It's
realistic.
actually you wouldn't be able to be like me because
You're
you wouldn't work
talking
that
down to
hard.
people like
Would you
us.
work that hard?
You don't,
Would
I'm not going to tell you. I don't have to answer that.
If you
I
don't
don't have
choose
to measure my, like, I don't have to measure my work ethic to be worthy.
You don't have to. Then you can't be upset for others who do so. You
I can't be
upset
for people who are
no,
struggling.
because they work
And that's
harder
what's wrong
than
with
you.
capitalism, because
But
you
go back
think
to the
that you have to
homelessness.
work so
Do you
hard.
live in the state of California?
I do.
Okay, you said homelessness.
Yes.
What do you think about your Governor Newsom? What do you think about him?
I don't like him. I'm a progressive. He doesn't do enough for the people.
Do you know when he was?
He takes corporate money. He takes money
Fantastic.
from people like
When
you.
he
He's
was-
not-
Newsom is in like the worst spot because righties hate him, lefties hate him. Like if you're in the middle, you're like, all right, he's all right. Like there's things he could do better. But like, it's like the same for Biden. Like, unless you're in the middle, and if you're in the middle, you're not that loud. Like you just fucking hated him.
Never given him money, but do you know when he first became a governor, I would never give him money. But when he became a governor first, from then till today, he's raised the amount of homelessness in this state by 36,000 people.
Okay, you know, I don't
He
like
was
the guy, but
given
he's not at fault for
24
homelessness.
billion
People like you are. Billionaires like you are the
Taxpayers gave him
problem.
24 billion. Taxpayers
I believe it. I
gave
don't
him
like that guy.
$24 billion, and he didn't do nothing with it. And
Vote
it
him out,
increased.
vote him out.
You
He's
vote
just
him out.
like
You
you.
have him. It's not that.
That's what I'm
it's-
saying. I'm
but
not
I will tell you,
criticizing
you can
but
go.
you're not much different than him. That's all I'm saying. You're in the same class.
But you're sitting here blaming a person who's changed their lives for the better. And it's their fault. My dad was.
This is not the United States of Patrick Bet David.
Do you know
this
where?
is the United States of America.
I know, and I'm
all
so
of our
grateful to
people.
be here.
And
I'm so
you're
grateful.
Are you willing to pay more taxes? So people don't suffer? I see you're starting the question. You're not willing.
Bro, this is such brain rot. Like I'm at the point like the commentary that I'm gonna make is just me mocking these people. Like it's so obviously stupid.
In Inglewood at a 99-cent store. We had nothing. No, I don't tell you that's great. We had nothing. I'm the guy that had. No, I'm the guy that had. I'm the
propaganda that
but
you can be like
what
me.
you don't want.
This is nothing. Nobody's saying anything.
When's the last time you read a business?
Nobody is saying anything.
When's the last time you read a
I wrote a
self-help
self-help book.
Tell
I'm
me
a writer. I'm a creative.
Tell me what self-help book you read.
I'm not.
Give
I
me
don't
one.
need to.
Give me one you read. Are you willing to take one recommendation?
No.
You're not.
Not for
Then
me.
I can't help you.
That's okay. I don't need your help. I didn't come here for your
great.
help. I
You've
came
been
here to
flagged
debate you.
out.
Good.
Awesome.
How's it going, man?
What's your name? Armin.
Yep, Armin Crow. When you said capitalism is the best form of economic organization the world has ever seen, it made me think of a very particular picture from history. So I don't know if you know this, it's a little history lesson. In 1900, King Leopold II of Belgium determined that
here we
the
go,
entire land was
guys.
a democratic republic.
Here we go, guys. King Leopold, slavery, all the people that he killed, which is true. King Leopold was like one of the worst fucking people in history. Like, fair enough, right? But are you gonna tell me? Are you gonna seriously fucking tell me that under a communist or socialist regime, you're not gonna have that same kind of shit? Look at this fucking smug ass smirk this guy has. The closest things you've actually had to those systems have been fucking horrible and have done horrific things to millions upon hundreds of millions of fucking people. Why would you even try to make this point?
Congo was his personal property. And within 10 years, capitalists came out, they exploited all the land, extracted trillions of dollars of resources. 15 million Congolese died.
There it is.
The Holocaust killed 6 million people. And the most famous picture from that time in history is a rubber worker staring at the disembodied hands of his 8-year-old daughter because he didn't hit his rubber quota. I'm willing to bet that man worked harder to hit that rubber quota than anything you've ever worked for in your entire life. And I think when you say this is the best system that's ever been created, to me, that's the result. That's what happens when there's no rules.
It's devastating when you hear stories like that. I don't disagree with you. They had it hard. They worked very hard, and they had risk on the line. Many times it was their lives that was on the line.
Please point
and
out
you
that
see
he's
that in many
being
different
hypocritical.
places when you go back and study history. That's why today in America, that can't happen. In America, you have a choice to do what you want to do with your life.
No. He's not going to do it.
Go back and look at those stories. We can go to see what communism did.
I
How
agree,
many lives
Go.
were
It
killed
wasn't.
because of communism control. You don't need to go through that number. You hear the number.
But he's not going to do it. How is he not going to point that out? How is he not going to point that out? How is he not going to point out the hypocrisy of that point when he's trying to support communism, socialism, when the closest things to it have done horrific fucking things over... Yeah, let's do the USSR. Let's do Mao China. Hello? North Korea? Hello?
Go that route. But if you're talking about which provided the best economical system today, you judge it by how many want to go live somewhere that gives you that opportunity, and that is America.
Do you know why kids can't work in America?
Why kids can't work in America?
Why there's child labor laws.
Yeah, because of child labor laws.
It was labor unions. They were getting shot at by police officers to fight for the weekend, to fight for the 40-hour work week.
Yeah.
Another good example is...
Bro, unions couldn't exist in a communist or non-capitalist society. You need, like... What? Bro!
1908 nil children strike. It was thousands of kids who were working 80-hour work weeks striking so they would only have to work 50 a week. That's what happens when there's no rules, right? And then the government had to come in and say, you can't employ children. So I think capitalism
We don't
itself...
disagree here with that. I don't think we're sitting here talking about child labor. Right?
Yeah.
Are you hearing me talking about capitalism is the best system because it provides child labor in America?
I'm saying that capitalism, there's no guardrails inherently. The government has to come in. People have to go and organize. And I think what you've seen for the past 50 years under neoliberal politics is that's slowly being chipped away. All the good things of the New Deal, like Social Security...
Bro, why do you have this smug little grin on your face? Again, the closest things you have to that have been fucking awful to people, have done horrible things, and there is no mechanism for the people to push back and change anything about it. What do you... You're stupid, Patrick Bet David. How are you not thinking of this point? You talk about this shit every day. How are you not thinking of this point? It's so fucking obvious. It's right in front of your goddamn face. Like, what are you doing?
I do think you need law and order. I do think you need law and order, but also at times, you know, the amount of rules you put in place can prevent incentives. Right now, if you think about drones, warfare is changing, okay? And 70 to 80% of all drones that are being built today are being built by...
Well, because it's as close as it's been. I mean, like, for like the purposes of making the point, you would say that's the closest that we've had to it in a lot of ways. We haven't had like a truly communist system.
Company called DJI in China. Ukraine was building 1,000 drones a day at $500
Exactly,
a drone,
Go.
$5 million
Exactly.
Russia, destroying them. 68% of their attacks was from drones. When you come to America, look at us. We're at 1 to 2% at the top. Let me explain my point to you here. Part of it is overregulation. Overregulation, FAA laws, this laws, that laws. So 500 startups that got into the drone business, they walked away because it's overregulation. Many cases, when you say, I want to put this rule in place, great. Another person, no, I want to go this much. No, I want to go this much. No, I want to go this much. It eventually gets to the point that it chokes the innovator, and that's also not good.
I would disagree. I think regulation is the reason why there's no lead in our gas. You were talking about incentives. The only incentive that really matters to a good capitalist is profit.
Yeah, regulation can be good. You can have regulation that is good for people, right? But then you have over-regulation, which ends up making a lot of the problems worse. That's one of the issues that we're facing here in California right now. That's why Newsom is slashing these regulations for building housing. It's causing more problems than it's fixing. It's just... You can't just have like a blanket position of, yeah, regulation's always going to be good. We can always make it work. That's stupid. You have to be smart about the way you apply regulation. You're just going to create more problems.
It is profitable to put lead in the gas. It doesn't matter if it lowers the IQs of kids living nearby by 15 points.
Unfortunately, someo's convinced
That's
at a young
such a-
age
that's
that these
such a
capitalists are
bad
bad
faith
people,
argument.
that they're
Why are they
terrible
fighting
human
against-
beings.
why are they fighting against taking lead out of their gas?
Think about it this way.
But here's the thing.
main thing. I don't know if you know Michael Burry's ever...
I don't think he's being bad faith. I don't think he knows that he's being bad faith. He's just a fucking idiot. This is why he's sitting there with his fucking little smug look on his face.
In the movie Big Short, at the end of the movie where it says Michael Burry now is focused on water because he thinks water is the future gold or whatever he calls it, right? Okay. Go to the company that's Coca-Cola, that sells Coke, and how much criticism have you had over the years with Coke, right?
Oh, I think Nestle's had a lot of criticism because they don't think water is a human right for the...
That's a different conversation. If I may finish the point, one thing with Coca-Cola is the following. Do you know even Coke got to a point that they realized in order for Coca-Cola to be around 50 years from now, 100 years from now, they went and invested billions of dollars to fix the water issue around the world. They're trying to get cleaner water. Capitalists eventually get forced to take care of the person because having lead in the water is just not a good policy long term.
Okay.
Surrounded is now a podcast, available wherever you listen.
Ooh, I
Search
don't
Surrounded,
care.
plug in, and stay part of the conversation. Anywhere, anytime.
My next claim is if all the money in the world were divided equally, it would return to the same pockets within 5 years.
That seems kind of fucking stupid. But once again, I'm sure their positions are going to be fucking stupid too.
What's your name?
Caleb.
Caleb?
Yeah, so you just said that you were
Oh boy. This guy probably smells like patchouli.
proposing if we divided all the wealth equally in like 5 years. How would you propose we divide the wealth in that way? In this thought experiment, again,
The claim was if all the money in the world were divided equally, it would end up in the same pockets in how many? I don't know, some number of years, he said.
if we're going to give it a serious
Right.
look, I want to understand, how would you propose that happen?
I hope you realize this is just a question we're asking everybody, right? But if you take all the wealth, which is around $500 trillion, okay, give or take, you divide it by 8 billion people, it would be around $62,500 each. Within 5 years, the people that don't know how to handle money themselves, they would lose it all. And within 5 years, the same wealthy would get the same amount of money.
It's kind of goofy when they do the little fact check. It's always funny when they're just like a little bit off. If they're like a little bit off, I don't really care, but it feels like they're being just super anal.
As someone who certainly doesn't make that much money, I'm willing to take that as a gamble just for fun,
Right,
I'll be
sure.
honest, but at the same time, like, okay, so you're just now claiming that people who don't have wealth don't know how to manage it. And that's fair because a lot of them have never had it before. So what do we do to basically ensure that people like myself who are currently, thank you.
Well, bro, I mean, in a lot of countries it is, but in the United States, if that's how much money you're getting, everybody's kind of, in a lot of places, still living paycheck to paycheck, or at least close to it.
To the United States, thank you to the state of California for giving me medical insurance to get blood work, for giving me food stamps so I can have food. I've applied to, I don't know how many hundreds of jobs.
Hey,
I can show you the
actually
receipts. I
though,
can
don't knock on hemp clothes, Daniel. Hemp is a pretty great fucking fiber, believe it or not. It's very strong, lasts a very long time. I've had like hemp sandals and shit before, and they lasted like a few years without issue. So don't knock on the hemp. Don't sleep on it.
show you the email confirmations. Like, I am trying my best to use my values with the freedom that we have
So if
here.
I give you a job, you would work 40 hours a week?
If the job is in alignment with something that's noble and good, I think I could. The issue is, and again, you may say that this is a personal weakness, but like right now, substitute teaching, tutoring, trying to help in that way is making it so that I'm able to scratch by.
Yeah.
But without the supplemental income and the help from the society of people who make more money, I'm going to not have enough
If I may,
food.
I want to address something which you made a point that I agree.
Is he not wearing pants? I don't think he's wearing pants.
With on why don't some people create wealth? In my family, when I was growing up, and I was telling this young lady over here, when my dad was a cashier at a 99-cent store, we've never owned an insurance policy before. My parents, we've never owned a house before. I've never lived in an apartment with a swimming pool before. We've never had a 401k stock mutual fund, none of that stuff. I had no clue how money worked. So for me, when I got out of the army with a 1.8 GPA,
Dude,
out of high
what
school,
a
I went straight to the army, 'cause I
juxtaposition.
didn't know how money worked.
PBD's in a suit, right? And this guy's in like a poncho with no pants. Decided to rock out with his cock out. Listen, can't hate on a guy for that, okay? You can't hate on a guy.
If you look at our system today, in high school, we learn about a lot of different things. They don't teach us about taxes, finances, mutual funds, stocks, bonds. Colleges don't even teach a lot of that right now. So
Do you work
come
in a
out-
high school?
Did I work in a high school?
Have you have experience like me, someone who's essentially on those front lines working in?
I've worked with many high school teachers and the directors of psychology to talk to the youth. Yes,
So
I have.
right now, I'm in a position where I have options, like you said. I do have some options, but they seem to be somewhat destructive and exploitative of me, of my peers. So I'm trying
I think
to
you're too
discriminate.
selective for jobs right now. You don't have the ability to be selective at this stage.
Well, but the
If you
thing is,
really
I do
wanna make
because I'm
some-
instilled with a freedom that is maybe God, universe given, and I don't actually have
yeah.
to because of the system. Like you said, I don't have to play along with some corrupt game. So I gave up
I think
a
California is
career.
perfect for someone like you.
Well, thankfully,
Yeah, I think it
California
is.
agrees. But
Yep.
you mentioned earlier.
There's
in the
no.
previous-
Do you want? I wonder if he goes to work dressed like this. I'm being so mean right now. I feel bad. I kind of feel a little bad. He's actually not like a bad-looking guy. He's just obviously. He's got an interesting fashion choice for sure.
discussion that we have free speech. We can say what
I'm
we want.
just
But the thing
I'm
is,
just jealous. Okay, I'm just jealous because this man has a straight up fucking mane. Okay, straight up fucking mane of hair, and I've got this.
Have you been punched on the train for how you look and how you share your ideas?
Do I look like an American to you? Do you see this nose?
No, I'm just
I'm
asking,
Middle
has-
Eastern. You know what's happened to this guy? You know what's happened to me when I was discriminated all over the place?
feel like that's free
But-
speech
no,
if you're
but I
being
don't mind
punished
it. I don't.
by people who
I
have
don't.
prejudice
I don't
against
mind it because I understand there is risk that you may be disrespected. There, like here, I've been disrespected here many times. I've been offended here many times. A lot of you are coming here finding a way to attack me, tell different stories. I'm okay with
don't
that.
wanna
That's-
attack you. I
You're
want
being very respectful. I'm not talking about you. But what I'm saying to you is, when you say, "Have you ever been punched in the face on a bus?" You don't want to hear about what things has happened to me because of the way I look.
Because I feel
But
like
I don't want to use
you've
that.
been through a lot of trauma
I don't
in your
wanna-
life,
but what I-
and now you're kind of clinging agreeing to things.
I'm not. What I don't want to do that. I have my son is sitting right here, my 13-year-old son, I have 4 kids. I bring them everywhere. I want them to see that it's okay. People are going to disagree with you. You have to be comfortable with this.
All the time.
You are with 13-year-olds all the time?
Because of my job. Because I'm a substitute teacher and a tutor. The thing is,
PVD, pay attention, okay? Stop being so fucking pedo-brained. Chill, all right?
Can imply many different things, and that is your right. But what I'm saying is right now, I care deeply about having a good experience. The incentive that I feel is for peace and prosperity.
I respect it.
And again, I'm using my freedom now, but the issue is you're saying we have all these options, but whenever I tour the globe, I see franchises that have monopolized pretty much everywhere. So when you talk about options, it's really, there's these select few people who have this infrastructure that's really benefiting them more than others, and without some sort of conscious, spiritual, moral awakening, what can we do except for beg and appeal and amass?
Well, no, you can't be too selective. At the beginning,
again,
when I worked at
don't like that
Haagen-Dazs, I
word,
couldn't be too
can't, because
selective
you're
for a
saying
job.
I can't whenever I can.
It's a choice.
Is he wearing Daisy Dukes? I think he is.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you for being respectful.
Listen, we don't shame here, okay? I feel bad. I feel bad now. I was going in real hard on this guy.
So one of the things that you have stated is that we have options. Okay. So just to give you a little bit of my background, I come from a divorced family, and we lived below the poverty level from the time that I was born until now, frankly. So I'm one of those people that you're talking about that isn't pulling themselves up by their bootstraps enough. Which, like, I didn't have boots to begin with, and like, I don't know if you've ever had boots, but like legs are load-bearing structures.
I relate.
And like, you can't really pull up a boot when you're wearing it, you know?
I did.
So
I went hard.
Where exactly am I failing?
I think
when
it was
I'm
like
working
a
80 hours a week?
poncho of some sort. Some sort of poncho.
I am taking the only jobs that will hire me. I have put in 477 applications over the last 2.5 years. Not even got a call back once.
Why do you think?
You tell me. You're a job creator.
But I don't know your resume. You know your life better than I do. Why do you think you have not gotten a call back on 477?
Because I do not have a degree.
Okay.
Because I do not have a degree because I could not afford one.
Okay.
I live in an area where the physical job market is very limiting.
Where do you live?
I live in rural Texas.
Okay.
So
Listen,
in
that man needs to watch his microaggressions. All right.
the town that I grew up in, for instance, there are 8 jobs. Period.
Does your family live there, mom, dad, everybody's in that same city?
Everybody was at one point.
Okay.
Most of them are dead now.
Okay, sorry to hear.
It is what it is. It's poverty. You know, we're kind of used to that on this side.
Why do you feel like you're a victim? Why do you feel like you're a victim? Why do you feel like the way you speak, like, you know, you're the victim where all this happened to you?
Because I exist and things happen to
Well,
you, and as such, things happen, and that's why I say that they happen to me.
You're a good-looking guy. Why do you think you're a victim? Why do you think you're somebody that's got into a situation because it's not fair what happened to me? Let me give you a couple options.
Sure.
Are you open to leaving the city you're in?
I've already left it.
So what city?
I've left multiple cities.
So if somebody else gave you a job in a different place, you'd be willing to move there?
100%.
Okay, on your resume. On your resume.
It says that.
What do you have on your resume? Skill set. What do you offer?
Transportation expertise, logistics expertise.
You consider yourself a hard worker?
I mean, I feel like 80 hours a week.
That's a hard worker.
Sure.
How about we do this? How about I interview you and I give you a job? Would you move to Fort Lauderdale?
Ooh, that's Florida. Sure, why not?
Would you move to Fort Lauderdale?
Sure, why not?
How about you and I document this? After this, you come, I do an interview with you, and I give you a job. And let's see what you do 90 days later.
Okay, and I'll look up your company and all that kind of stuff.
Dude came in to debate capitalism, might be walking out with a job. Hey!
And I'll see it.
But
But
you
like,
see what just happened
regardless,
right there? Well,
Mike,
watch what you just did.
Sure.
You just said you applied to 477 companies who's not gone back to you.
Yeah.
A business owner who's hiring aggressively.
Take this, employs you.
You said you're willing to, then you said, I'll look at it. You became selected.
I didn't say I'll look at it if you'd let me finish my sentence.
Go ahead. I want to hear it.
I would like to look into your company to see exactly what you guys do.
You would like to?
Because I don't know what you guys do.
Okay.
So,
okay. Now we know why he has trouble getting a job.
as far as I'm concerned, I may be wasting my time going, if you guys are a finance company, if you guys are a bank or something like that, I don't have the certifications, I don't have the degrees. So even interviewing me would be a
What if I
moot
gave you a job, period, to work 80 hours a week? Would you take it? And I paid you a reasonable wage.
Are we talking a livable wage or a reasonable wage?
What do
And
you
whose
make right
version
now?
of reasonable?
There's not allowing companies to open factories without the government owning equity. Countries growing capitalist tendencies, for example. The Labubu major consumers bullshit. They're not communists in the traditional sense of Marxist-Leninism. They're certainly not socialists. Yeah. We had this whole fucking argument the other day. I don't know why people don't just say yes. I don't know, dude. He's probably nervous. He's probably thinking either he's like out of his depth or like if he's here representing anti-capitalism and he takes a job from PBD, he's gonna get in trouble. Just take the job.
We talking about your version of reasonable or my version of
But you see,
reasonable?
so now for me, what I'm noticing from you is
I need specifics?
No, not necessarily. You know, most of the people I hire need specifics. The difference is I'm trying to hire them. In this instance, you're trying to get a job and you're being selective. It's going to work against you.
I'm not trying to get a job. Originally, I was
My
trying to
offer
ask
is
you
off
where
the
the
table.
moral failing.
My offer is off the table because you're going to be difficult to work with.
Okay, sure. But my question was, where is my moral failing? Like, where is it that you are saying that I am not working hard enough and I am not doing
I just
enough?
experienced it right now because the way you just handled the situation.
Got it. So I should accept anything that somebody gives me at first blush if it is a guaranteed thing.
No, not necessarily.
I agreed to do your interview. I agreed to be interviewed by you, and you agreed to consider me for hiring.
Yeah.
So therefore, I am taking that opportunity. I've chosen to. But because I am asking you for specifics, your immediate reaction is that, oh, well, you're trying to be picky. I'm not. I'm asking
specifics. You could have simply
I said I need to look up your company. That's all I
you could
said.
have said is I'm willing to have the interview.
And I did.
You had the interview.
And I did.
No, you said it depends.
I said, yeah, sure.
Good
yeah, sure. I would look into your company. That's all I said.
I appreciate you.
No, man.
James.
Look, I don't know what PBD's deal is outside of like his podcast and his stuff. Like, does anybody know like what his business shit is? Because I actually don't know. Oh my god. I wasn't even looking, and then when you said that and I looked, I was like, oh shit. He does.
Hi,
What's your
I'm
name?
Faye.
Faye?
Yeah,
Good to
nice
meet you.
So how would you define socialism? Because I think you're kind of misunderstanding what anti-capitalist ideals look like. I think we are just trying to advocate for basic rights for our people in this country and across the world, of course. But I don't think it's necessarily about equal wealth disparity around the world for most people that are anti-capitalist. I think it's more about just standard rights that are provided by the government.
Standard rights that are provided by the government.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So
go a little bit deeper. So for you, when the claim here is, if the money in the world were divided
Yeah,
equally,
so
it would
I
return
think-
to the same pockets within 5 years. Do you disagree?
yes.
Tell me why you disagree.
Yeah, so I disagree because I don't even think many
Yeah,
people
I
are trying
know.
to argue for that.
People are not trying
So
to
like,
argue
who are
for
you
that?
arguing in this
Yeah,
debate?
what I'm trying
There's
to
like
say-
a very select amount of people that are trying to argue for equal wealth disparity.
Yeah.
Most people are at least trying to at least advocate for wealth and at all for people that don't have access to healthcare right now, that don't have access to a good education right now, that don't have access to their basic needs like food.
Do you think our system right now allows people to stay in those situations long term?
They force them to stay in those situations long term.
Okay, so part of me actually agrees with you, but why do you think they force them to stay in those situations long term?
I think because they are trying to convince the working class that they don't have rights.
I actually don't think that's what it is, although that's fair to your point here. What's the chances that any of you here voted for Donald Trump in 2024? Exactly, right? What is the chances that all of you here can't stand the phrase MAGA, Donald Trump, any of that stuff? Is that a fair assessment? Fair, okay.
Yeah, so it's your
so
point.
think about it this way. So maybe you're right that the Democratic Party that's been earning your vote for a long time wants to keep you there because they'll
They
have
have
your vote
never
for the
earned
rest
my
of your
vote.
life.
They have never earned my
Who
vote.
did you vote for in 2024?
In 24, I voted for the socialist candidate.
Who was that?
Claudia de la Cruz, I believe.
Who did you vote for in 2020?
I was actually not able to vote. I was in a hospital.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yes,
Sorry to
because
hear.
of results of capitalism.
Tell me more.
Yeah, so I didn't have access to proper health care or even access to a proper job that would sustain me as a disabled person.
Are you comfortable being specific on what happened?
I
You don't
guess
have to if
so.
you're not
I mean,
comfortable
I'm
with it.
also mentally ill, so that was something I had to deal with. But I'm mainly mentally ill because I am disabled in a capitalist country.
Tell me more about mentally ill. Who qualified you as somebody that's mentally ill?
Me and my doctorate team.
Who convinced you that you're mentally ill?
Me and my doctorate team.
What's the specific category of mental illness? Is there one? You know why I asked this question? Let me explain why I asked this
So
question.
I don't even like the psychological industry. I don't really stand for like Sigmund Freudian politics or
Sure.
anything like that. So if
Yeah,
you're going
I
to debate the
I'm
ethics
not.
of psychology,
I'm not. Where I'm going with this is going back to the same thing with if the money were to divide it equally, it'll
Yeah.
end up being worked out within 5 years. My trouble is, in many cases, somebody you and I look up to will say something to us that we choose to believe for the rest of our lives. Unfortunately, it could be something where you have ADHD, you're mentally ill, you're poor, you're this, you're
But
that,
why-
and we get to choose to buy into that or not. And if you do...
So you're saying I'm not mentally ill or I'm not
not saying
disabled?
you are or you're not. I would challenge you to go a little bit deeper to see if there's anything you can do about it.
So you're asking me about my health. You're asking me about my disability.
I'm not.
and my,
I will say we are in a market where, stay with me here,
Mhm.
there is a market where there's profit to convince you that you have issues to take the medication because they're making
Yeah,
money.
but I
and
don't
I'm
have
not
access to the
supportive of that.
medication. I don't have access to even a result or a solution to my
This is
disability
fucking
as someone with a
stupid.
connective tissue disorder. It's genetic.
Have you been able to go to different doctors and get yourself tested? And
Yeah.
see? You have?
Yes.
And in California?
Yes, but not
And who-
enough.
who
I
paid
can't
for it?
find a specialist.
You can't find
I
a
can't find a
specialist.
specialist
Is
for
there
who
anyone
I
in your
am.
life that's
I
willing
can't
to pay
find
for a
anyone.
specialist?
Well, they could or they would if they had money.
Anybody
But
in
they,
your-
yeah.
Would you be okay if I pay for a specialist?
Wait, you live in California, dog. Medi-Cal is here. You can absolutely get health insurance. What are you talking about? You get health insurance for mental health issues here. What are you talking about?
For you to go see?
Like, even if you're fucking poor.
Yeah.
Would you take money from a capitalist to help you go see specialists?
I mean, yeah, sure, why
I'm
not?
going to have you go see two. Do you live in California?
Yeah.
I'm going to have you go see two specialists. But would you?
This is now turned into just PBD being like a philanthropist for all these people. This is his strategy. He's like, I'm going to come in here, okay? And I'm just going to give away like fucking healthcare and shit to all of these people, right?
Also be open to seeing somebody else I choose as a psychologist that may...
No.
You're not.
No.
So
you
simply,
choose as a psychologist. You're choosing who gets to determine what my mental health looks like. No.
Okay, then I wish you nothing but the best.
Yeah, so I think... All right, thanks for
Thank
talking.
you so much. Yes, anytime.
How you doing, man?
What's your name?
Seth.
Seth, good to meet you.
I think your claim kind of doesn't make any sense because it would not inherently be a capitalist society you're describing. Because I'm surprised nobody's really addressed this issue. We haven't even defined what socialism is. Capitalism
This is really
a system in which
frustrating.
all businesses are funded by millionaires.
This is really frustrating. This reminds me of like when I was at shitty points in my life. And instead of like taking help from like my parents or anybody else, I was like determined to like be mad at the system and do shit my own way and like continue to put myself in shitty positions and and then of course there is PBD sitting there going like, look at how great I have it and blah 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 blah, which is like, look, yeah, you know, we laugh about it, but like he is being pretty fucking tone deaf here and he doesn't understand like there are people who go through fucking struggles for their own reasons and all of this is just every side of this is fucking brain rot, dog.
Billionaires, investor classes. If this society everybody had the same amount of money, I don't really know how the money would be generated up and down. I don't know in this theoretical. It sounds more like an anarchist society, which would make more sense.
You know,
to me.
we're using this as a hypothetical.
Yeah, so
I
I
want to make sure I qualify
my
that
point
we're not.
being, we haven't even described what capitalism is.
But stay on this point here because you came here. Let me go back to this one. If all the money in the world divided equally, it would return to the same pockets within 5 years. Do you agree or disagree?
Well, I disagree.
Tell me why you
because
disagree.
I believe in a system more akin to that kind of system. I think that a system with people with more wealth and
But
equality.
do you know why the wealth would go back to the same people and the same people
I know
at the
why it
bottom would be
wouldn't.
poor? Why do you think it would?
Well, it wouldn't go back to the same thing or places because I don't think that we have an inherent equal starting point in the beginning.
But this is a starting point. What I'm saying to you is if we right now did a case
why it wouldn't go to
study...
the same places because we've never even tested some sort of free market. We've never seen any sort of system akin to that. A genuine free market, not one that's distorted by capitalists, by business owners. Capitalists generally protect their own class. That's why people rise to the top. Yes,
I don't know about that. I actually think it's a very competitive place to be.
No, there's not at all. People start at the very bottom. They have no shot to even...
Do you know why I make the claim of if all the money in the world
knows
divided
half
equally
the
would return
time.
to the same pockets within 5
I'm
years?
assuming that you think that because people work harder or something like that. But I would argue the people that work the hardest are the people that make the least amount of money. The people that work the least, live on their yachts are the ones that are owning all these companies, never been inside the businesses that they...
Well, that's not necessarily true. That can be true sometimes, but like sometimes not. Like, for as much as we fucking hate on Elon Musk, doesn't he work like ridiculous fucking hours?
I don't know if I agree with
Hassan
that.
special guest at the end.
I was just in Arkansas a week ago, and I went to a city called Hot Springs, Arkansas.
What up, Sleepy?
There was two friends from high
Good to
school
see you,
started a
buddy.
Windows company, 250 employees.
Yeah.
The city loves them. They work their tails
I'm not
off.
really
They're
referring to small businesses.
But I'm talking about, but many big businesses started small. Walmart wasn't
sure.
big day one. Walmart was small when it first got started.
Why are they still a monopoly? Because they exist off
They're
of...
not a monopoly.
Okay,
Amazon
not
is taking a
monopoly.
big share
They
away
own
from them.
oligopoly, whatever. They own a large market
Do you
share because
think-
their ability to use their money
Do
to
you know how
lobby
many
it.
jobs they've created around the world? Walmart has.
I'm not even referring
It's
to
3 million
Walmart.
jobs
The-
worldwide.
Yeah,
point being
that's
they distort
yeah. I
capitalist
mean, you're right, Cosmic. Like, I don't know. He tweets a lot. He's always saying he works this much, but like we don't know it for sure. But I'm sure there are people who are like who make a shit ton of money who are working like all the fucking time. Is kind of my point. Like, it's not necessarily the case that poor people are going to work the hardest. That's not 100% necessarily the case. And also, like, you know, oftentimes like the stress that a person who's like running a 100 million plus Fortune 500 company, like the stress that goes on them is insane, right? Because it's not just the decisions they make don't just affect them, they affect thousands of people who work for them, right? If they make a wrong decision and it fucks the company, people are going to lose their jobs, people are going to lose their livelihoods, and that's going to be their fucking fault, and they're going to feel that too. So I don't know, like it's just not so, it's not necessarily that easy to just say like, okay, poor people work the hardest. Yeah, poor people work hard. Like, I'm not saying that they don't. But, you know, there's a lot of other things, there's a lot of other factors that you kind of consider when you're looking at that.
distort the market so it's unfree. How could it be a free market if everybody in the market inherently wants to make it unfree because they want to rise to the top?
I'm watching
if everybody has the incentive to maintain a free market, then that's something that...
So let me go back. The reason why I said if all the money in the world were divided equally, it would return to the same pockets within 5 years. To me,
oh yeah, look at that. We're back to the actual
place,
fucking prompt that we haven't really addressed barely at all during this whole section.
Your relationship, how hard you're working, all of those combines. Habits that you have in place, habits that you have in place, and also habits at the bottom. The habits at the bottom are not long-term thinking, it's short-term. When I didn't have any money and I was broke $49,000, if I had $500 to my name, we're driving on the freeway to go to Vegas to party for the weekend and come back. If I had a penny to my name, I'm having a blast.
No! Oh, no! Oh, gross. Oh, no! That's so gross, Go. Oh, I hate that so much. Ugh, it's so icky.
Then things changed. But this pointer that we're talking about with the
some people are so far off from that point, they're so far in debt that small decisions would not alter.
It's not true.
Yes, absolutely.
It's not true.
You're just privileged and you lived in a certain
You think
example.
I'm privileged?
Well,
I'm privileged.
You're privileged to become a millionaire because of your hard work. That's amazing.
My mom ran out of money and went back to Iran. You're talking to a guy that would have done 20 years in the army. If one guy doesn't call me, if one guy would call me,
the government funding you.
I understand that, and I joined the army because I had given up on life.
Social programs.
No, I was not confident on what I could do, but I changed. So can you? Look at the way you're speaking to me.
You can change. You can work hard, but
do you know somebody like you? Do you know somebody like you that speaks this eloquently? If somebody gets a hold of you in real estate, insurance, finance, you can learn how to sell and you can make some real good money. Somebody like you that I'm watching.
Everybody's born with those abilities. You have to be like somebody who's white, tall, 6'4", whatever.
I'm Middle Eastern. I'm from Iran. Do you realize a lot of stuff that goes against me?
Okay, but many people have no choice.
But that's an excuse.
What? Bro, why are you leaning into identity politics right now? What are you talking about, man?
No, that's not a language.
If you never have the opportunity to compete because you're pre-designed.
I appreciate you being respectful. Truly, you need to know that. So and I'll be respectful to everybody.
Absolutely.
But I appreciate you for being respectful. Right now, everybody that's here, me changing your mind, it's not a very high likelihood. Okay? The audience that's watching, 40% of them are going to agree with what you say, what you say, what you say, what you say, and they hate me. 40% of the audience is going to agree with me. 20% of the audience is in the middle saying, I don't know, man, what do you think I should do? Should I feel like a victim or should I not make excuses? Or what is that guy saying? Or should I do this? Or should I sympathize? The 20% that's watching this.
I'm going to say 60 to 80% of the people watching this are going, everybody here's a fucking idiot.
That has a fighting chance. I'm hoping they realize they can do something about their lives. We're not going to be able to solve 100% of people's problems, unfortunately.
I don't think people should keel over, but that doesn't mean most people have an equal competitive advantage to some.
I think everybody has a certain gift
somebody
to
like
offer.
me is more privileged
I
inherently.
think everybody, listening to her present, she could be a lawyer. Listening to her present, she's got fire in her belly.
But the problem is, here's the thing. None of those people, or like just a few of those people, are going to fucking comment. And the people who, most of the people, like 80 to 90% of the people who do comment are going to be from the, like, 20% who either agree with all of the people who are arguing with him or him.
Got a gift. Every single person here's got a gift. Whether they choose to use it in a way to help them advance in life, that's not my fault.
Everybody
That's on
can
them.
afford to increase their market value.
You can.
No,
You actually
not
can.
everybody.
Well, we respectfully disagree.
I appreciate you.
Thank you again. Appreciate you.
Surrounded is currently casting passionate 55 and older Trump supporters who are ready to have a thoughtful conversation about politics, generational differences, and the current administration. If this is you, apply using the link in the description. Feel free to spread the word to your family members, relatives, or friends who might be interested.
My final claim is the U.S. is more socialist than capitalist today. If you hate the system, you're anti-socialist.
That should be a doozy.
We're back at it again.
Yep. Yeah, so I think it's super important here for all leftists alike, but for the audience in general to define what these terms are.
Oh, what happened?
Best way to do it would be to look at the theorists, right? Over history, we've seen communism and socialism talked about by governments and by, I guess, programs, but we never actually read the actual theory. And what theorists all agree on is that socialism would be a transitionary state between capitalism and communism, where the means of production are specifically owned by workers, not privately. The idea that any country now is anywhere near socialist, let alone communist, would simply be ridiculous and just it wouldn't reflect theory whatsoever.
What is the definition of communism to you?
Stateless, moneyless classes society.
And you prefer that?
Yeah, so I think that we should be moving towards,
communism.
Yeah, stateless, moneyless classes society.
So you don't think a person like me should exist with the amount of wealth that I have?
Yeah, because I think that we're getting to this point where we're creating fake scarcity for people like you to accumulate the wealth that you have on the basis of private ownership.
Okay, so you're not even.
Oh, I bet that was interesting.
Not capitalist. You're definitely not capitalist. You're not socialist. You want to go full communism.
So what do you think that looks like, though, is the thing, right? So what Marx actually wanted was for us to reach a point where we no longer have the scarcity of resources that has kind of predicted, history as it looks like now. It wouldn't happen.
Yeah,
now.
but
It would happen as we automate.
Why are we still? Marx didn't know a lot of shit. There's a lot of shit that happened after Marx that he didn't predict. Why are we still talking about that?
this point in time, we can decommodify housing and food and education for around 5% of the government budget. That's 1/5, a little bit over 1/5 of what we spend on the military already. We don't, because we were living in the state where it almost seems utopian that things like food and shelter. How old were you the first time
you thought you wanted to be a communist? How old were you?
Is that a response to any of the statistics?
No, because the statistics are against you. It's never worked. There's so many Cubans that moved to Miami. They love their country. They hate the politics. In Russia, they run away from communism because it didn't work. It killed so many people.
Almost like it wasn't communist.
It's almost
was there a state?
amateurish
Yes,
to
there was.
debate
Was there
a
classes?
There we go.
It's almost like you're not replying to any of the statistics.
You're a dictator telling you what
Dictators would
dreams
not
should
be
be.
allowed under communism.
Dictators end up, of course, running communism.
But they weren't.
If somebody's taxing 100%, what is a dictatorship?
So again,
But you know why? It's because when they try it, it just doesn't work, and they end up having to revert.
Do you think, how much money
to some quasi-capitalist, state-controlled
I don't know,
system?
allow everyone food, shelter, water, and education in this country?
How much money would it take?
Yeah.
But going back to your question here with communism, stay on that point there with
Nothing
communism.
I say is responding
but
to.
I'm trying to find out from you here. You're saying communism is not dictatorship.
No.
Define dictatorship.
Yeah. So when one person or one small entity
Right.
is able to enforce its will on the people, when we have a private ownership, when we have a system based on private ownership, that's what happens every single
dictatorship?
time. Yeah. So
dictatorship is private ownership.
Yeah. So private ownership.
And there's different sects, and they have different beliefs, and they, just like every other religion, they play no true Scotsman, and while technically there hasn't been a truly communist system, the reasons why are not because nobody's tried it. The reasons why is because when they try it, it ends up changing into something else for a whole number of different reasons.
Under communism, doesn't Elon Musk exist?
Yeah, no.
No, so that's dictatorship. Thank you.
That's completely incorrect. Under capitalism, we don't have the freedom for people to.
You do.
Okay,
so
under capitalism, right? We don't see that the commodification.
Would you consider China communism right now? Would you consider China communism right now?
Shelter or water or education when we can with 5% of the budget.
No.
Why don't we see that?
Would you consider China communism?
Why haven't you answered any of my questions? Why haven't you responded to any of my statistics?
Would you consider China communism?
It's almost like we're not having a conversation.
We are having a conversation where you have an argument that's been proven that it's not working.
It's almost like I just gave you a definition of communism for you to critique, and you haven't been able to.
If it's such a great system, why are other nations not?
It hasn't happened yet because we've never been at a point for it to happen.
Because we've not found a noble person that can do it the right way. That's not a dictator.
Okay, if we haven't been at a point for it to happen, then what are you arguing for? Why would you argue for a system that you literally are saying right now we're not at a point for it to happen? That doesn't make any sense.
We would see that he wanted
Are you saying that we're at a point for it to happen now? Why? What has fundamentally changed between now and any of the past times that makes it able to happen? Because I don't see anything.
Have you read Wealth of Nations?
That capitalism today is socialist.
Have you read Wealth of Nations?
Yeah, so I've read Das Kapital, I've read the Communist Manifesto as well, Engels' collected works, etc. What do you think? If you think that communism is in any way us having wages or us having privatized means of production, you don't know what it is.
You choose my dreams, and I refuse to do that.
Who are you arguing with?
Where
did you get that from?
What do you mean?
Well, haven't I? That was interesting.
Let's go. Justin, nice
Justin, good to meet you.
How you doing, Patrick?
It's funny to watch them run in
so I need to pick your brain a
1.5
little bit.
speed.
You're saying U.S. is largely socialist. I want to focus on the word largely. So why do you believe it is largely socialist?
Because 68% or so of the money that we take in goes towards entitlement programs.
So I think one of the things that is going to be major to me, it's like Zena was touching on earlier, is going to be the fact that socialism is a big part of it is going to be workers owning the means of production. When we have President Biden, for example, telling that the railroad strikers, it's going to be illegal for them to strike, I don't see that as much of a workplace democracy.
Did you have a question, or you're just saying the fact that you don't agree with President Biden and what he said?
I'm just saying a core tenet of socialism is the workers owning the means of production. The workers currently do not own.
Patrick Bet David, if he's a good righty, he should be like, I agree, I hate Biden.
The means of production. So why do you believe it is largely socialist?
So you're saying the workers should own the means of production?
That is correct.
Okay, so to you, that's the definition of socialism.
That is a core tenet of it.
What else would you define as socialism? I'm curious.
There's a lot of different things, like Zena was touching on as well. Moneyless, stateless class of society, but I think more important than not, workers owning the means of production and workplace democracy.
Are you more socialist?
They're the same term, man. Marx uses them interchangeably.
Well, the only difference I would put is because where I see in America, I think we are extremely getting close to being a socialistic nation with the amount of taxes that we have in place right now.
That's great.
But at least under communism, I can't survive. I would prefer us staying at the 10% tax rate. I think we're paying way too much taxes.
Why would you not be able to survive?
I wouldn't be able to pursue my dreams that I have in place under communism. My mother's family, they were part of the Two-Day Party. The Two-Day Party in Iran was a communist party. They had escaped Armenia and Russia and came down to Iran, and they pursued communism. I grew up in a family where everything was about the rich are greedy, the rich people are bad, the rich people are this, and the rich people are that. My dad's side, they were imperialist. My dad's side, they said poor people are lazy. So one side, rich people are greedy. The other side, poor people are lazy. Who's right?
I would say that neither are right, of course.
I would say both are right and wrong, is what I would say.
Both are right.
And wrong. Both are right and wrong. Because I do believe there are extremely greedy rich people. And I do believe there are extremely lazy poor people. But I also believe there's a lot of hardworking poor people that are working, but they haven't found a way to get out of it. I agree with that as well.
So that's actually a major point right there. They're not able to get out of it.
You can get out of it. You could actually get out of it.
But you just said they're not able to.
No, because they're choosing not to. I just made an offer for a book recommendation here. So I'm not interested.
I mean, that's not... really true either. To say they're choosing not to get out of it is kind of fucking stupid. Nobody has a reasonable position here. Nobody has a reasonable position. I just want one regular person with an understanding of all of these things who can be like, well, yeah, there are definitely difficulties that make it harder for people, and there's ways we can improve our social safety nets. But the idea that because our social safety nets aren't strong enough to help, certain people out of poverty, that means that we need to get rid of our capitalist system entirely in favor of a system that we have no idea how we could actually make it work successfully. That's fucking stupid too. It's so very
If I sit there and somebody's
frustrating.
giving you feedback and saying, what about if you think about finding...
I do, Van Kirk.
Sure, why not? We'll talk about this
I'll
after
give it to you
this.
after.
Yeah,
But
of course.
the point I'm trying to make to you is, if you can exist under a capitalistic society, and I can exist under a capitalistic society, so can she. But
Okay, we can both exist under a socialistic society.
Not
It's
under
not-
communistic, and under socialism, the incentive would be bad. Think about it this way.
It's been a lot of that.
During COVID, take the two states, California and New York. They lost $1 trillion of wealth that left. Do you know where they went to?
Where did they go
went to
to?
Texas, Nevada, Florida, Tennessee. You know why? Because it's a better climate for entrepreneurs. Today, if you look at New York City,
Yeah,
you know
that's
Mount
just how the market works, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong about that. This is why we are abundance pilled.
You know who
I don't-
Mamdani is?
I understand how
You know who
market-
Mamdani is? Are you
Yeah,
a fan
I
of
know
Mamdani?
Yeah, of course.
Okay,
I
from
love
New York.
Zoran.
Zoran's up there saying he doesn't believe
Love
billionaires should
Zoran.
exist.
Correct.
I hope he wins. I hope he wins. You know why? Because he says, I don't believe billionaires should exist, and he's going to be the mayor of a city that has the most billionaires in America, 123. I hope he wins so we can see what happens to New York when the billionaires leave. When they leave, here's who's going to pay the price. The people that are left behind, who were taking advantage of the taxes that billionaires were paying. You think the government's going to change their budget expenditure?
I hate that. I hate it when people say that acceleration is bullshit. I mean, technically, that's not like full on accelerationist. But like, I hate when people are like, I hope he wins so y'all see how bad it is. Why? Why do we want that? Why do we want people to fucking suffer and pay more money and shit just to teach people a lesson? Why not just like push the other candidates to drop out and endorse one of the more moderate candidates so we can actually just not have him?
$30 minimum wage. I can't imagine that
Middle
there's
America's
just
going to take the biggest hit if billionaires leave the state of New York. You'll see.
Yeah, I agree,
Good
Mohammed.
to see you.
I agree.
Okay.
Firstly, I want to start by saying that the U.S. is not largely socialist because that's not what socialism is. Socialism is social or collective ownership by the workers or a community of the means of production, right? So we're talking about like city-run grocery stores, or we're talking about worker cooperatives, or even in some cases credit unions where a local community owns the bank that they take part in, right? That's what socialism is. Socialism is not when the government does stuff for you. It's not when they build roads. It happens under capitalist economies, it happens under socialist economies. But I'm also not sure you entirely know what capitalism is, and if it's okay, I'd like to ask a couple questions about your job.
Sure.
Because you're offering that. I know that you're Valuetainment, right? You run a YouTube podcast. You also run PHP Agency, right?
Yep.
Yes. And you sell life insurance policies, right?
Life insurance and annuities.
Yes. I read an article by the Daily Beast which argued that you make more money from recruitment fees to get people to work for you than you make money from selling those policies.
Here we go. Calling out the MLM. Okay, this guy might be based.
Capitalism is when you provide a service and sell the labor of yourself or the person who works for you in return for money. But you're not really doing that, right? You're selling being part of the company through recruitment fees. I'm not sure that's capitalism.
How familiar are you with the insurance industry?
Pretty familiar.
Are you?
Yes.
You've been in the industry before?
No, my grandfather was. And I asked him all the
so
questions.
in the insurance industry, when you're in it,
yes,
you get paid
yes,
by selling life insurance policies, and you get paid by selling annuities.
Yes.
We built a distribution channel of a company right after I left Morgan
Sure.
Stanley and Transamerica. We started the insurance company.
Tommy Peanut
Encouraged-
Allergy, Dean
helping
Candy, yeah.
middle-income families who didn't have another opportunity to create wealth for themselves.
Yeah, California has had growth in population now for at least 1 year. I don't know if it's 2, but yeah, we're finally back to growing again as well. I think it was just during COVID when it got really expensive for people, so they left. But we're in a population surplus again.
I just came back from our event in Vegas.
Hold on, I'm
Let
not
me
sure
say
that's
this to you.
correct, though.
It is though.
It's not
I
correct,
just,
though, because
let me
where do you
make
make
my
more
point.
money
I just
from?
came back from. We don't make money from recruiting.
I read the Daily Beast article that did that. I also watched CoffeeZilla's debate with you, where you pulled up receipts that the majority of the employees of your company don't make any money.
Here's a question for you. Here's a question for you. Bring up CoffeeZilla.
Yeah.
Daily Beast
He's
is
an
a different story.
MLM.
Go to CoffeeZilla.
Sure, of course.
Do you think if I was worried about my business model, I would go on CoffeeZilla? What do you think? Do you
I think
if
that
if
it's
I
not really
was-
capitalist.
Hang on a second. Do you think if I was worried about my business model, I would go on CoffeeZilla? They were actually very strong when they came back after me. We had a 2-hour conversation.
Yes.
We finished it. It was good to go. We moved on. Their claims that only 1% or 2% make and nobody makes it in insurance, they're right. Most people don't make it in insurance. Just like most people who move to California don't make it in Hollywood.
So I believe
and
the
most people
technical
don't make it in
term for
real
when you
estate.
make more money from getting people to be part of a company than from actually selling a service is called a multi-level marketing scheme. Do you think that that's
Yeah.
a
Not
fair
at
characterization
all.
of your company? Why not?
Do you know what multi-level is?
Yes, I know. It's where you make more money from. It's sort of like a pyramid scheme wherein you make more money from getting people to be part of it and selling them
Let
to
me
be part of the
educate
company.
you. A pyramid scheme doesn't have
Sure.
a product. That's criminal. A multi-level marketing company is more like an Amway, an Herbalife, a New Skin, those companies.
Those are MLMs, you stupid fuck.
Because it pays you.
That's the same fucking model, just a little. Oh my god.
Company than you are from making money from actually
This
providing.
guy has. PBD has definitely practiced this. I have heard this exact fucking thing from MLMs before. This is so dumb.
Not true. It's a claim by Daily Beast. By the way, do you know what a quality of earnings is?
Yes.
What's a quality of earnings? Tell everybody what a quality of earnings is. Go ahead.
Fair point. The quality of earnings isn't that like the value that's produced from when you make the money, like how much from the labor that's produced, or am I wrong?
What is quality of earnings?
I give you what I think the definition is.
Okay. So quality of earnings is I sit there and I want to sell the business to you.
Yeah.
You make an offer of $250 million. Okay. I tell you, this is my business. Here's how much profit we make. You leave and you say, great, let's make a deal. I'll pay $250 million. We shake on it. Then you validate whether it is worth that or not by going and paying a big company a few $100,000 to check the quality.
Okay, so same deal as like having someone look at the quality of the gold that you're going to buy.
PwC came and they do a quality of earnings to say, is this company really worth this? They get to make a decision whether the company is truly doing what you or Daily Beast claims to do.
The value comes from your brand. It comes from going on podcasts like that, even when they expose the business model, because you were not selling.
Do you know what ended up happening? Don't make claims.
Do you know what you're selling?
Do you know what ended up
happening?
happening?
You know what you're selling, right?
Do you know what ended up happening?
Do you know what you're selling?
The company
You're selling
ended
your
up
personal
buying.
brand. You're selling the idea, because when you're offering people here jobs, right? You're saying that they would have to pay you money to get that. So in reality, you're trying to convince them to pay you money to be part of your company.
Defaming. Be very careful defaming when you don't know the facts.
You have a recruitment fee.
No, be very careful claiming. Be very careful making that claim when you said people here have to pay to work at our company.
It's recruitment.
Be very careful. No, those are two different things.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, how are you? Tatiana.
Tatiana?
Yeah,
Good to meet
Tanya. But yes. And your name's Patrick, right?
It is.
And I don't know a lot about you before coming.
Whoa.
Tanya. But yes. And your name's Patrick.
Titania? That's a name, bro. She's got dots in her name.
Right?
It is.
And I don't know a lot about you before coming in today. But why do you use socialism and capitalism like in this instance? I've noticed a lot of people have defined the vast differences, but you're insisting
I mean, I should be fucking one to talk, right? Jordan with a U.
that we're still like a more socialist like country. Why are you insisting
So
on
that's a
that?
fair question. So for me, there's different definitions you can have. Under communism, to me, it's 100% taxes, meaning I can't go create my own property. If I want to build a billion-dollar company, I can't do it under communism. Is that a fair assessment?
Yes, I guess it is.
It is. Okay.
Yeah.
So capitalism, I would ideally like to see taxes between 10 to 30% max. I like a flat tax, but somewhere between 10 to 30%, because I still do think there's certain things that the government needs to do. Military protection, certain things. Socialism to me is 30% and up. Anything above that you're taking the money away from me without my choice to use it for things where we get to 68% of entitlement programs, I'm not a fan of that.
Okay, so let's talk about where we're at. I believe you said
That's capitalism, dingus. That's just a mixed economy, you fucking idiot. It's just every... This is so annoying.
a reasonable wage and minimum wage. What about a livable wage? And we haven't really talked about livable wages because they
What
kind
do you
of
think
differ.
about minimum wage? So what do you think
So
minimum
I
wage
think
should
we have
be?
a long way to go.
Okay.
I'm not really a big fan of these little increment things, especially when it's like it's not like rent is stopping and leveling
Mhm.
out. It's like it's far exceeding what most
I
people
don't
can,
disagree, for sure.
make.
Yep.
And so I'm just wondering how you still can sit here and say that when I know you like to talk about you came up from Haagen-Dazs and all this other stuff.
In Glendale
and-
Galleria, 20 minutes away from
great.
here.
Love that for you. But we're talking about where you are today.
Glendale. AKA Little Armenia.
And where I am, a majority of these people in the
Sure,
room,
sure.
and I
And
haven't
I believe
really
you can
heard.
change.
Yes, we can
Okay.
change, but I think that there's certain systems.
Are you
in
talking
place.
minimum wage? Do you want to address the
we
minimum
can
wage
talk
topic?
minimum wage, but I like to say livable wage
Okay.
because I think they're
What do
two
you
very
think it should
different
be?
things.
What do you think it should be?
I think that we should go per state because every state is different in
Give me
terms
a
of what
number.
they
Where do
can
you live? You live in
I live in
California?
California,
What do you think it
so
should be?
based on
Two state is per state is too wide. You have to be more granular. But y'all already know my position on that. I have talked about it at length. I think most of you agree with my idea about minimum wage, except for neighbor Uni, who does not believe in a minimum wage, which is his prerogative. I definitely disagree.
the MIT.
So why we need to eject all these loser, retard, leftist freaks. Kick them all out. As your constitution fall and form your own party. These people are booted against the Democratic Party. Yeah, but to be fair, Patrick Bet David basically just said taxes are socialism. So he's a fucking retard too.
living wage calculator. It's an actual livable wage calculator. It's $27.81 should be the starting, and then if you have kids and so forth, then you can like go up from there.
Okay.
But starting at about $27
So,
hourly.
let's look at case studies of what happened.
Mhm.
California chose to increase the minimum wage for fast food workers to $20 an hour,
Mhm.
restaurant workers. Do you know what happened in the state of California? Mass exodus. People left and went different places. You know what restaurant owners did? Like, I can't compete with these guys if you raise the minimum wage. But the challenge with minimum wage is also the following. So say there's two companies. You have Walmart, okay, in
True.
Bakersfield, pick a city, and you have a different supermarket that's been in the same family for
Very
60
true.
years. The governor here says we're going to raise the minimum wage to $20 an hour. Who do you think can afford it? The
Very
within
true.
a family, the small
Listen.
business. Who do you think Walmart? Who do you think can afford to go to $20
You're
an hour?
right about that.
So that's why I think we have to factor in other systems other than capitalism. I think you're kind of making the point that's been made a few times today, where we can't just look at one thing.
No, this hasn't been made. The point I'm making here is, anytime a Bernie Sanders gets up and says, let's raise the minimum wage for $15, and he was caught in his campaign not paying his own workers $15, $13 an hour, and he had to talk about it and apologize that even a guy that's a socialist wasn't paying a minimum wage. But if you raise it to $15, Amazon celebrates.
Okay.
Walmart celebrates. Do you know why? Because the employers from this supermarket that have been working for this family for the longest time, they can't afford to pay that. So they leave and go to Amazon and Walmart. What happens? The bigger companies keep getting bigger. The small businesses go out of business because of minimum wage.
Okay, so you mentioned Bernie Sanders. I didn't mention him. Cool for Bernie Sanders. Whatever. Do you pay a livable wage or a minimum wage for your employees?
There's not a single soul in our company that I pay $15 an hour or $20 an hour.
Okay, so are you paying them livable wages though?
Absolutely.
Okay,
of course
based on your standards
because
or based
of my
on
choice.
like the stats?
Because of my choice.
So you're
because
determining what people's livable wages are?
No, I look at the marketplace and I see what's going on, and I get to pick and choose what percentile of people I want to hire. Do I want to hire bottom 10%, 25%, 50%? I'll pay a little bit more.
Yeah, but this is when you're talking about the dynamics of above minimum wage. Most people aren't making minimum wage, right? Minimum wage really is only for those the like lower percentages that are working in certain places. And like I say, it needs to vary from like more granularly than state. It needs to vary like, you know, maybe counties, maybe even smaller. I wouldn't, you know, I'd have to speak to somebody who understands, who's like an expert in those sort of economics to know exactly like how granular that should be. And obviously it's going to cause like some shifting here and there and some adjustments over time, but that's the point. There he is. I was wondering when he was going to show up and get upset about it.
Because I want to get somebody that's got a little bit more experience.
Okay. Okay.
Tanya?
Hi, Tanya.
Hi, Tanya. Thank you.
Hi again.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good.
Can you remind me again why you think this country is largely socialist?
Out of the $4.9 trillion of revenue that we get in, 4.9, 68% goes to entitlement programs. That's the reason why I say America's socialism.
Do you think that we should have a say in where our taxpayer dollars go?
That's why we have elections.
Okay.
And you vote for it. Yeah.
So you agree that we should have a say in where our taxpayer dollars go?
If you're asking me who should have a right to vote, I would change the system in a major way of who would have the right to vote.
I'm not asking you if people
You're asking me a question.
I'm not asking you who should have the right to vote.
Right.
I'm asking you, do you think that
the
our
current system
taxpayer dollars should be
allows,
dictated by us?
The
where
current
that goes?
election allows you to vote and decide who you want to be your candidate.
Absolutely. Okay. So
No. Regular people don't understand taxes and all of that shit. Like, no. It should be done by experts. The idea of having, like, the general populace decide how taxes are spent is so fucking stupid. I can't even express it.
I would argue that the biggest handouts go to billionaires because we give billions and billions of dollars in subsidies to billionaires every single year. Elon Musk just got a huge raise. I'm not sure why. He's worth over like hundreds of billions of dollars.
Be specific. You're talking about SpaceX?
I'm talking about SpaceX, Tesla.
SpaceX?
I'm talking about the companies
Okay.
that we fund as taxpayers. So why did we never vote for that?
Why did you never vote for the money going to some of these companies?
Do you see an issue with the fact that we as taxpayers didn't have a say in, first of all, electing this tech oligarch?
Once you elect somebody,
deciding where our taxpayer dollars go.
Once you elect who you elect, what they do next, you don't have a say during that time.
We didn't elect
until the next election. No, I'm talking Congress, Senate. They make a decision on who they give the money to and they approve.
But he's been getting this amount of subsidies through every administration. I'm not just referring to the Trump administration.
Let's talk about how he's done, okay? So the NASA was shut down many years ago, okay? Since then, how has NASA done? Trying to find a way to go to space. What has SpaceX done? SpaceX has been able to do
What has
to go
NASA
to
done?
space.
NASA gave us the
1/20
satellite,
of a
which
cost.
you use every time you
1/20
use your
of a
phone.
cost. If you let me finish, NASA versus SpaceX. Elon Musk, as much as you hate him, Elon Musk was able to go to space for 1/20 of a cost because government organizations.
Elon Musk has the ability to eradicate extreme poverty in this country, and he chooses to send rockets into space and make extremely.
I do not think that's true.
Ugly cars that we never actually funded.
Believe it or
so
not,
I would
most
argue,
liberals drive his cars. So.
Well, I would say the Cybertrucks. It's a poor decision aesthetically.
The
but
Cybertruck.
I'm not discussing the aesthetic.
Sorry, I was gonna go into that too, Barcode, but I think she was saying like NASA has done awesome things, is what I think she was saying as a response to him saying, "Well, look at what Elon has done." Was I think her point. How could you explore space where there's a genocide
of his products.
It's so funny because when you say what you say about the Democratic side on the climate change side,
I know what this calls for. I know what this calls for. I think you all know what's coming.
How dare you?
Work towards that the most. You guys loved him till he supported Trump. Elon was your favorite 8 years ago until he supported Trump. The moment he went into Trump, this guy's a horrible guy. This guy's a terrible guy.
To be fair, I've hated Elon Musk consistently throughout my adult life, and I also think that
she was hating Elon Musk before it was cool. So was I, for the record.
He is someone who has benefited immensely from the government. That's why I find hypocrisy in what you're saying.
I don't disagree on that side.
Not because of that. That's not why. Because I don't really care that much about that. Because he always came off as a big old fucking phony to me. Like, I would hear him talk about different topics he claimed to be an expert in, and I was like, you're not a fucking expert in that. You're full of shit. She hates anyone that makes more than $300 a year.
Exploitation of labor overseas. He's benefited immensely from his extremely aggressive union
Filthy
tactics. Union
capitalists.
So I'm saying, like, why
is he a net positive to you, for society?
Is he a net positive for me personally?
Is he a net positive for society, not for you?
I wouldn't say so.
You don't think he is?
No, I wouldn't say so.
Who to you is a net positive to society? Bernie Sanders?
Bernie Sanders is, I would say he's a compromise candidate, but I would say that...
He's a compromise candidate.
Yes, I would say he's a compromise
AOC a net positive to society?
I would say net positive, yes.
More than Musk is?
Yes, absolutely.
Really? Tell me why.
Because AOC wants to introduce a Green New Deal, and I think that the New Deal is the closest
for $30
thing...
trillion?
Okay, Trump literally just added $3.4 trillion to our deficit, so I really don't want to hear...
$30 trillion and
okay, so I'm saying,
$3 trillion?
I'm saying that I think that, you know, when we look at the system that we currently have, I think that we need to redistribute the wealth in a significant way, and we need to reintroduce something like the New Deal. And I think AOC has been the closest to doing that. I'm not saying I'm the biggest fan of her, but I'm saying that we need a marginal tax rate.
Right.
That is something similar to the New Deal, 70 to 90%. Ideally, I would go for a wealth tax. Anyone over $999 million has to pay every year. But I'm saying that...
Say that one more time. You would do what? Anybody that makes over...
I would introduce a wealth tax. So
okay.
I'd say that anyone who makes over $999 million needs to pay. So I think that no one should be a billionaire. I think that we should put the cap...
No one should be a billionaire.
Absolutely not. Do you think that people can survive on...
Just do progressive tax. Just do progressive tax system. Or, what was it? You said a negative tax system, was it called? Neighborhoody? Just do one of those. You'll be fine. It's good. Don't specifically, like, single people out and, like, be like, we're going to punish you for making this much money. That's stupid. That pisses people off.
$99 million.
This isn't how life works.
Do you think someone could survive on $999 million? I'm asking you, do you think someone would be
negative
okay?
income tax?
Do you think someone's life would be impaired if they had only $999 million instead of $1 billion? You're not answering the question.
Fortunately,
Answer
these
my
companies
question.
that continue to grow
Why are you avoiding my question?
created jobs for others.
Do you think someone
And
could reasonably
in America
survive on
don't get to
$999
dictate
million?
how big a person wants to build their business. That's not
Why do
true.
you-
By the way,
why
why
do you
don't
think
you elect someone that pursues those policies? Bernie was your hero for many years. He became compromised. But how did Bernie become compromised?
I said that
You said he's a compromised
compromise
candidate. Why is he a
candidate.
compromised candidate?
I mean, he was definitely...
I'm laughing because my brain goes, Lex Friedman. Welcome. Let me tell you about the negative income tax. Yeah, I do, and I don't care.
Compromised by the Democratic Party, who didn't want him elected.
What happened?
I'm saying he's a compromise candidate in that I would go for
Listen,
minimum, but I also...
if we had a negative income tax, I would be more amenable to no minimum wage, right? Like, you understand why that's the case, right?
So know that he's probably the best we have right now, and I would like to see him as president, ideally, or someone similar. I think Zoran Mamdani, who you mentioned earlier, I think he's an excellent candidate.
Microaggressions are real. It's just the way that people react to them is fucking stupid and over the top.
You know why I can't wait for him to win? Because I can't wait for the data that comes out after he wins. I can't wait to show
Or
you all the
people
numbers.
see things and call them microaggressions that aren't.
For the next 4 years after he
If
wins.
rich people have to flee New York
They will.
because of his policies,
They
that means
will.
that they're too economically fragile
No,
to
because
handle
if you
those
don't appreciate
taxes.
people that create jobs, they will go somewhere
What
that
kind
they'll
of jobs are we
appreciate it.
creating? We
A
have to look-
high-paying
we
job.
have to look past job
They
creation.
pay high-paid jobs.
Many of the
if you
jobs-
bring value to the market.
The reality is that Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, and Jeff Bezos,
Right.
they have
And what Z did was not a microaggression.
huge monopolies over our market, and they're able to pay as little in
I think the
wages
only
as
company
they'd
that
like.
has a monopoly- I think the only company
they
that
quite
has a
literally
monopoly-
control the wages and the costs in our economy.
Right.
When Amazon has 60% control over e-commerce,
I am
they can quite literally
hoping
decide what
you-
wages and what costs people can earn and pay.
Your candidate AOC.
I never said she was my
you said she's a
candidate.
net
You're
positive
making
to
false
society.
endorsements.
Yeah,
You said AOC 's a net
PBD, what are you doing? They hate AOC now. You gotta stay up to date, buddy. They hate her now.
To society
I
more
said
than
she's-
Elon Musk.
absolutely,
Perfect.
yes.
When AOC was in New York, Amazon wanted to bring 25,000 jobs to New York. These were jobs that were
What
paying
do those jobs look
$150
like?
a year.
Because
Let
from
me-
what
let
I
me finish.
understand, the
These
people
were
who work
jobs
for
that were
Amazon
paying
have to
$150 a
walk
year.
10 to 15 miles
These
per
were
shift.
jobs-
They have
these were
higher
jobs that
injury
were
rates
paying
than the industry
$150 per year.
average.
These were jobs that were paying $150 a year.
I think we can stop.
She went against it. They went to a different place. 25,000 jobs they lost in New York.
And what would those jobs look like?
150.
Sasper's coming out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sasper's here.
I'm gonna go with my friend here. So I chose Mason.
Why are they calling them anti-capitalists? Just call them a dirty commie.
because he was the only one that came up to me and said, Pat, I'd like to have a reasonable conversation with you. You came up. There was 3 other people I was thinking about, and because you were fair and respectful, I chose you.
So my claim is America.
He's got a nice beard, nice facial.
So I think that when you see wealth disparity and the amount that it gives influences to certain individuals, specifically from a starting point, if we're looking at America like a race, and someone is starting 2 inches from the finish line and somebody starting a mile back, we would not say that this is a judgment of their merit. We'd say that this is a system that allows those with the most influence to continue to be successful.
So is it about some of the people that got generational wealth have an advantage over others that didn't get it?
Yeah, I'm not necessarily saying that that's a moral failure. I'm just saying when people claim that capitalism is a meritocracy, that's just factually inaccurate, and we shouldn't be allowed to lie here. Like we should try to be coming to a common consensus.
So capitalism is not a meritocracy.
No.
So you mean to tell me nobody here can go out there and win if they wanted to at the highest level?
No, I think that there's a probability that people can have social mobility or increase their economic conditions. It does not mean that everybody is able to. Some people could be a billionaire in the circle.
If you're saying not everybody's able to, I fully agree. I can play baseball, but I'm probably not going to play Major League Baseball.
I can spend the money on a lottery ticket. Doesn't mean I'm guaranteed to win the lottery.
I agree. So what's your point? I agree with you then.
So my point is that America is not a meritocracy. You said that.
No, you said there's 2 things. Anybody at what levels, you can have success. To me in life, there's 3 different types of people. You got overachievers, you got achievers, you got underachievers.
You don't want to fresh squeeze that juice.
You can overachiever, achiever,
they don't
underachiever.
like you
okay,
anymore.
you can find a guy in school. We all remember the kid in school that was going to, we're like, that kid's going to win in life, and he didn't. He was supposed to be an overachiever. He ended up being an underachiever. And there were kids in school that we looked at. We said, that guy's not going to do anything with life. Dude, stay away from that guy. He ends up winning. He's an overachiever. So it's not about what you're, end up doing in your life. It's how close you reach to your capacity.
The winning that you're talking about, quote unquote, is wealth accumulation.
Not necessarily wealth accumulation.
It is. That's exactly what you said.
If you end up, I have friends that make $120,000 a year. They have a good life. They're happily married, got 2 kids, and they chose to go live in a place like Victorville. They chose to go live in a different place. But to me, that is winning. They're contributing to society.
I have a genuine question for you, Patrick.
Please.
Do you think that a nurse or a hedge fund manager offers more social utility?
This is documented. 14 years ago, I made a video talking about the 10 most honorable professions, and a hedge fund manager wasn't on that list. What a nurse was.
Wow.
I believe what nurses do. When my father's at the hospital and I see how they attend to him, you have no idea how much respect I have for nurses.
Right.
It's a tough job.
However, but I would say the hierarchy of what our society looks like does not prioritize that in the same way that you're saying
that there's a difference. There's a difference. Do I think a nurse is more important to the market than a basketball player? Yes. But the market wants to watch a basketball player play, so they pay.
Sleepy, I've been drinking one of these a day.
Your last claim is about how America's socialist, and that's a bad thing. I assume that you're saying because of government intervention.
Absolutely.
So you think capitalism can exist without government intervention?
I think you need law and order because there will be abuse if you don't have it. In our insurance company, when I was running the company, I had to make sure there was law and order in there. If you don't have certain compliance, abuse will come in. When abuse comes in, if it's a free for all.
Are part of those laws like labor laws?
That can also be abused. No, it's a fair question you're asking, but a part of that can also be abused. A lot of those guys go in with the right intentions. Then they become dividers and they pin the employer against the employee. So then that is the divide and conquer model is very effective.
I just want to break this down. Do you think that there are not mutually exclusive interests in owners and workers?
Do I think there's mutual interest with owners and workers?
Do you think that they have a symbiotic relationship and where they're trying to achieve the same goal?
I like to give my employees equity because if you own equity in the company, you no longer are an employee. You treat it as if it's your own company. So I prefer to give my employees equity, but it's my choice. I don't want the government forcing me to give them equity. I'll give you a story. You remember that story of a guy who said, I pay every single one of my employees $70,000 a year? What was this guy's name? I don't know if you remember this guy. This story went viral. Socialism, what a noble guy. Everybody retweeted it. The Bernies of the world. Phenomenal guy. I invited him on the podcast. He comes on the podcast. I said, so tell me about your noble cause that you pay everybody $70 grand a year. He says, well, I don't think anybody should make over $70 grand a year. You can live off of $70,000 a year. I said, perfect. How many employees do you have? Let me make the point. I said, how many employees
I don't think that this is conducive to our conversation.
I said, how many employees do you have? He says 100. I said, how many of those 100 own a single share of your company? None of them do. Who does? I do. You're a socialist claiming everybody should make that much money, but you're not giving equity?
I'm not endorsing this particular person. I'd love to look into this, and maybe I'll watch the interview later.
There's a lot of contradictions in socialism when it comes down to action.
There are contradictions in the way that workers are trying to get as much wages as possible. That's just guaranteed. I want to get the maximum amount for the labor that I put into it. A owner wants to do the exact opposite. It's not that they want to pay people what they're deserved. They want to pay people what they can get away with. That's just virtually true. Yes, because what you say.
I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's the case.
No, you already agree that coercion exists in the system. You're just saying that socialism. You're saying that socialism is the government mandating others to do it. But you're saying that markets do the exact same thing. You just said that the market price determines.
Don't put words in my mouth. I like you. You're respectful. You're a nice guy. Don't put words in my mouth.
Did you not say that markets determine market rates?
I haven't. What I'm telling you is there will be abuse in business, and if there's a person
I'm
like
going to ask you the same question as soon as you're done. But continue.
There is abuse in business. Some people will take advantage of that. But the benefit of a free market capitalism is if I don't treat you fairly, you go work for him. If he doesn't treat you fairly, you go work for him. Eventually, if you bring enough value, guess who can't afford to lose you? I can't afford to lose you.
Do you think that markets determine market rates?
If I can't afford to lose you, guess what I have to do to you?
Do you think that markets determine market rates?
You didn't answer my question. If I can't afford to lose you, guess what I do to you?
Do you know what a monopsony is?
Tell me about it.
If you don't have regulation that's interfering with them, then yeah, they do, right? Naturally.
So do you know the difference between a monopoly and a
I know monopoly. Tell me about monopoly.
Okay, so a monopoly is a single seller who has rare competition within the selling of the distribution. That creates like inflated prices and that can hurt consumers. But a monopoly...
Yes, antitrust is responsible regulation.
Is one single buyer. So this is an employer. There are things called company towns. You brought up the example of Walmart outpricing small businesses.
Sure.
I think that's a fantastic example.
On the minimum wage side.
Right, of how there are large businesses that utilize their leverage and their influence and their capital in order to determine what those wages look like in a given particular place.
Sure.
So what I want to argue is minimum wages seem to stifle monopolies because they allow people to start at the same floor rate. You're saying that big businesses have an advantage when there's a minimum wage because they can pay more.
They do.
We are also advocating for higher taxation rates and capital gains taxes on these businesses that are supposedly taking advantage of the system.
I think
wait. You can invest this in tax breaks for small businesses, for people that have less employees. Maybe you say at less than 5 employees, they have certain tax incentives, so they're not taxed at the same rate as these large conglomerates. But that does not mean that a minimum wage is a bad idea, because like most people here said, you can't survive on less than $7 an hour in most places.
You know what's the great thing about business and numbers and data is every idea is getting exposed. During COVID, all the policies that came out from the leftist side, they're all getting exposed today.
Name two.
Within time, everybody realizes what works and what doesn't work.
Can you name those policies?
When
just saying that they
states who
failed?
chose kids to stay home instead of going to school.
When is that a socialist policy?
That is a control, because when a government is ran in a way that they're controlling.
That's not socialism, my friend.
Socialism is a form of
Socialism
control.
is a workers.
This is his problem with being stuck in these right-wing echo chambers, bro. He's no fucking clue what he's talking about.
Control of their own
ultimate control.
No, socialism is workers' control of their own workplace.
Socialism is a form of control. Communism is the ultimate control.
So you're using this rhetorical
What?
device saying that capitalism equals freedom, socialism equals control.
I want to
and
be respectful to you, and I've given you a couple questions that you haven't answered yet.
I'll answer any question.
I want to go back to the question.
The rhetorical strategy that you're using might be beneficial for a large media platform. It's not based in reality.
If you bring value to me, and you're so effective to my company, if you get to a point that I don't give you a good salary and I don't give you equity, what's going to happen to you most likely?
I'm going to try to start a union with my workplace, so that way we can collectively bargain on how to raise the floor.
That's
for
one
all
of the options, but guess typically what ends up happening.
What happens? They're
you
busted.
Leave and you go to a different company and they
Are you
give
saying the
equity.
owners bust the union? Is that what you're saying?
No,
it's
that's
not
not what I'm
successful.
saying. I'm not talking union. You're talking about a different
What do you think
candidate,
about
different
unions?
person. I think in some places they work. I told you earlier, in many cases they're divisive.
We agree. You also mentioned Wealth of Nations. You like Adam Smith?
I think a lot of his ideas, yes.
Do you disagree, or do you also agree that landlords are parasites?
I don't agree landlords are parasites.
Adam Smith, even Wealth of Nations author, said that. He said that rent is...
You're cherry picking. I don't think landlords are parasites. I think in many cases, when you think about what's happening with New York right now, this is why I'm telling you guys, I hope all of us reunite in 4 years and we have a conversation, and I hope Mamdani wins. I am hoping Mamdani wins because that case study is going to get opened up and all of you guys are going to see it.
Can we both agree that corporate Democrats are a stain on this country?
We don't need a case study. We already understand the economics. We don't need a fucking case study.
Utilize their leverage and utilize their influence to maximize their own private wealth is a bad thing that we should discourage?
I think it's their choice. I don't think you and I get to tell them what to do and what not to do.
So you think that like insider trading should be allowed?
I'm not for insider trading whatsoever.
You just said it's their choice.
No, if you're being
you can
specific,
use your influence.
If you're specific with insider trading, that's a different conversation.
I just think that all of these are examples of why capitalism is not a meritocracy, especially when you're saying that politicians who utilize their influence to maximize their own wealth. When you're talking about landlords who are profiting off of necessity for people, or you're talking about business owners who stifle unions for people that just want to collectively organize.
You could be right if the data was shown. I'll shake your hand, absolutely. I'm not trying to disrespect you. No,
thank you.
You've been very respectful. No. But for me to tell you this, everything here can be proven based on data.
Correct.
If your policies are so attractive, I'm going to come to you.
Empirical data shows that worker cooperatives are not only more sustainable to market collapses, but they also provide more of an actual attachment to the work that those workers have. The alienation of labor is absolutely making people hate their jobs. Why do you think most people watching probably don't like the workplace that they're in, but still agree that there's some problem in America? Whether they're saying
next week, or do you mean next month, Casper?
It's immigrants, or whether they're saying it's billionaires. What the problem is in America is people don't feel an actual attachment to what they're producing in the world.
What do you think about Social Security? What do you think about what FDR did?
Wait, actually, you have nothing to say about those worker
because your
cooperatives?
point's been made. Go back to Social Security. This has been done with, right? If we have a couple minutes. What do you think about Social Security and how FDR came up with it?
Yeah, I think FDR, from most historians, are placed in the top 3 of all presidents, and that's from conservatives and Democrats. I think that FDR got a lot of things great. I really like his second bill of economic rights. I think it's very vital that we provide people with housing, we decommodify.
I'm super unsurprised. I mean, like, I don't have too many. I think the second bill of rights was pretty cool. It'd be tough to do, but it's good. It's a good idea. Good ideas there, right? But I don't know how we would have done it.
Things that are necessities. Do you know the difference between elastic and inelastic goods?
Stay on Social Security.
Oh, so you don't know the difference?
What do you think about Social Security? Stay on that.
Okay, well, Social Security, I think, was initially had as a social safety net to add a supplemental income to people's pensions. So most people going into like the 1950s all the way up to the 1980s were given pensions by corporations as a promise to, if you work for my firm, I'll make sure that I supplement the exact same salary that you're getting throughout the rest of your life. Now, what Ronald Reagan did was he changed the pensions to contribution-based retirement, which means I have to put this into the 401k, I have to put it in the stock market, and if the stock market collapses...
Do you think Social Security ended up being a system that worked?
I think that Social Security is definitely needed as a supplemental income, and right now, since we have contribution-based retirements, it's absolutely needed, because if you don't want old people eating cat food, we probably need some sort of sustainable income.
So when he came up with Social Security, do you think his intention was to have 74 million people use it today? Do you think that's what he thought was going to happen?
Yeah, and I think it's because you're not gutting the program in its entirety.
So
you can say that Social Security is a failure if you take the wheels off of the car. The car's not going to run. But if you continue to buff it up and you make sure that you have good guardrails, it can be a successful
program. The challenge is, a lot of time when you come up with a noble idea to try to fix something today, ends up getting bigger and you never expected it.
I already did. Did you not see my reaction?
When Social Security first came out in 1935, the first benefits were paid in 37, and it was paid in a lump sum. At that time, we had 128 million people living in America. Do you know how many people got Social Security?
Tell me.
54,000. Do you know when benefits started?
Tell me.
65 years old. So let me say this again to you. Life expectancy was 61. Social Security benefits started at 65.
Right, so you're saying because we've increased life, people need to work longer, right?
0.04%.
So grandma should be working at the
Let me make my
mill
point,
right
and then you can say anything you want to say.
Well, I'm just saying, you said as life expectancy increases, people should be working longer. You want to extend the retirement age,
No, if you bring that to today, and you bring the math, exact same formula as the great FDR came up with.
See, Patrick, here's the difference between our worldviews. You're saying that because Social
today,
Security,
there's 340 million people. Let me say the point, and then I'll let you speak as long as you want to speak.
Great.
So that went from, math again for you, 54,000 out of 128 million people, 0.04%. Life expectancy 61, benefits start 65. Today, It's 74 million out of 340 million. That's 21%. When life expectancy is 78, benefits start at 65. Do you know who's going to pay the price on Social Security? Not my generation.
Yeah, if we keep doing cuts, correct. If we keep doing cuts,
no, because you're going to run out of money. You're going to run out of money.
No, that's not how it works. So the difference between our worldview, Patrick, is you're saying not only should people work longer into life because life expectancy has increased, but they should work longer into life without guarantees for healthcare, without preventative care, and that's not only going to increase the deterioration of people's living conditions, it's also going to lead to a worse economy. Because let me tell you, 70-year-olds not going to be the most productive members of our economy. They should be spending time with their families. They should be easing into their passing away. We shouldn't be forcing grandma to go to the mill.
It's going to be on your back. You'll be paying for this in 30 years.
Appreciate you. Yeah, I think that Patrick is a really great salesman. I think that he came in and confidently sold what capitalism is. But I think that the main point of today really showed that capitalism's best product is giving excuses for its own failures.
I don't think that we should be giving these people a large platform to amass a larger following, but I do think that we should expose these people.
Oh my God, she unironically believes in deplatforming.
To the light, and I think that even if people have horrendous and repulsive views like he did, I want to hear them because I want to know who those people are.
I also don't think that he really listened to a lot of the claims. I also don't think everyone listened to his claims either. So I don't know how productive of a dialogue it was, but maybe we convinced some people at home one way or the other, and maybe there's some value to that, maybe not.
My vision for America is if there's anything that's happened after COVID, we used to be here. We disagreed on issues here. This is center, this is libertarian, this is...
Bro, that started before COVID, my dog.
Conservative. And then during COVID, we went here, where we are in a very interesting place that some people don't even want to talk to somebody else that they don't agree with. It's gotten to the point that we are a little bit too divided right now, and I'd like to see America be more united than as divided as it is.
Okay. All right. I got to go to the bathroom real quick. Throw some suggestions in chat. Maybe we'll watch someone and come back. Hey-o. What do we got? Oh, nice. Great. Very productive suggestion. Thank you, Neighbor Rooney. Appreciate it. Let's see. I did not pre-watch. I believe you. I believe you. Jellyfish? Oh no. All right. Well, you guys are thinking of something else to watch. I'm gonna do dailies. A daily time. Oh boy. Was it these? Damn, everybody's leaving after that video. Why are you highlighting me if you don't want me to read? It's okay, I stopped reading before I got too far. Okay. Nice. Nice. Hmm. All right, see you later, buddy. I'm running through a whole bunch of stuff right now. I'm trying to. For some reason, the bird is making me think Larry Bird, but that's because I'm seeing the sports things, and I'm like, is there a Larry Pope? Is there Larry Bishop? I don't think so. I don't know. Wait. But that's not the right Lord, right? Yeah, I feel like that's bait. Like a Hail Mary? All right. But I can't figure out the fourth one here, if this is correct. first, second, and third degree, first, second, third base, first, second, third down. No, right? First, second, third bird. And Lord has 3 albums? Are you sure? Is that the fit? Oh, man. Didn't see the answer. All right. What, clergy member, bishop, pope, and bird? I don't understand. Pope because of the Holy Trinity? Hmm. Damn. It's tough. Yeah, fuck, this is tough, dude. I mean, there's no way, like, members of, like, a group, single members of, like, a flock, that's so stupid. Yeah. Fuck it. I'm just gonna guess at this point. Oh, God. Ugh. That was one away. Nope. Oh! Oh. And what's this? What cardinal might refer to? Oh, that was a difficult one. At least we got it. Guest, though. Oh, shit. Well. Yeah, for some reason I'm getting vibes of this being like 2005 withdrawal from Gaza, but I don't know. That's my guess. That's what I'm going with. I don't know exactly where in Gaza it is, but... Oh! Oh, no. It was an evacuation of the Apples in the West Bank. Okay, that's still good. Okay, this is Greece, right? Yeah. I mean, I guess Athens, right? Because that's what you do. And we'll say, like... I don't know, this looks like World War II-y. Oh, 1950. But I was close at least. Ugh. Taiwan. You could probably find where this is, right? It's not going to be in a city. I wonder if we'd be able to tell. Probably not. Shit. Nah, we're not going to be able to tell. Fuck it. Just go in the middle. And then this is like 80s or 90s. Probably 90s. Like late 90s. 1 year, 130 kilometers. Okay. Oh, it was in the city, damn it. All right, that's fine. First of all, this looks like early 80s. I'm seeing B's here. Is that for Belgium? See if that's how they spell it there. That's what we gotta look for. Something like that. Like a bank that has a similar name. Ooh. Show me a bank. Feel like I'm in the wrong place. You guys don't have any fucking banks? Jeebus. What? Random, completely Arabic named place. Okay. Okay. We're gonna guess it anyway. We're biting the fucking bullet. It's gonna be wrong, I'm sure, but we're fucking going with it. Okay, here we go. I was right! Oh, I was right! West 24th and Broadway. What? West 42nd. Oh my god, bro. Do I have dyslexia? Holy shit. Oh my god. That might be the first time in my life it's been that blatant. Holy shit. Okay, what side of the street are we on? Okay, that looks like the Empire State Building. Is it though? Is it? Oh yeah, okay. So if it's behind them. Thinking like here. And then this looks like the 40s or the 50s. Okay. Nice. Perfect location. Dropped some on the years. 6 years off. That's okay. D-Day. All right. Hey! Good score. Good score. I knew you'd get in your corner. Alright, I'm gonna finish with this right now. At least I know what to do. I might build this ship like off stream because that seems like a lot of tedious shit. Just do a quick little save. Boom. All right, we got 20 minutes left. Let's just say goodnight to YouTube and jam out to a little bit of music. Good night, YouTube. Bye.